In communication, connectivity is everything. We ensure that the links never sleep. Quantities and qualities, all in our data service, providing efficient, reliable voice and data service. We believe if you're not up to speed, then you're going backwards. Communications have to flow as fast as the speed of light. Whatever business you're in, having someone who understands your needs is critical. That is why we just don't offer you technology, we offer you solutions. Enjoy Gamcel's internet broadband anytime, anywhere. Your national operator, Gamcel, Yaibaram.
Alright.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464-838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
Agad.
Mbijan aganya.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. Kosa. Nsila ID soto.
Ah, sa soto. Sorry. Agad.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara Allah service o tariya.
Ah,
mbare ki janna nun kuno bara tariya.
Ah, janno mi yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Ha. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong labe to.
56 branches mola sota Gambia ja.
Ha?
Ha. Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannam number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wala nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi mane domorol dil fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Ha wo moyo diat ha.
Apelenta
baraka ni lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bu kanyi na ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Baraka.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.
In communication, connectivity is everything. We ensure that the links never sleep. Quantities and qualities, all in our data service, providing efficient, reliable voice and data service. We believe if you're not up to speed, then you're going backwards. Communications have to flow as fast as the speed of light. Whatever business you're in, having someone who understands your needs is critical. That is why we just don't offer you technology, we offer you solutions. Enjoy Gamcel's internet broadband anytime, anywhere. Your national operator, Gamcel, Yaibaram.
Alright.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EGA Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464-838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
I get it. Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. What's that? Nsila ID soto.
Sorry. I get it.
Bijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Mbale.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birin koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolon blabe.
56 branches mola soto Gambia ja.
Ha?
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 ti nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wala nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale le dadi ma ni domorol ni fana beteata. Gambia dawda yalo nga kumfa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
ni
baraka
ni na lafta nyela kendo le bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Baraka.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.
again to the public hearings of the TRRC. Imam, you have the floor. If you can offer some prayers, and perhaps you may add a few special prayers because of the period of Ramadan that we are in, the last 10 days, involving the Laylatul Qadr. Imam, you have the floor. If you can offer prayers then, please.
Thank you, Chair. Ci kaddu Chair man bi wone na ne dafa bëgg ñu def ñaan jublu ci suñ fukki fan yi mujjé ci wéri koor bi ñun ñëpp xam nañ li nekk ci fukki fan yi mujjé ngeenel bi ci nekk jégal bi ci nekk yàlla nangul ñu lañu or ak lépp lu baax loo xam ne def nañ ko ci suñ aada yi la ne fukki fan yi mujjé ñu yaakaar ne yàlla dinañu jégal suñ bakkaar yépp te nangu na lépp luñ ko jàmm ci jamono ñu jéema delluwaat ci moom di ñaanal réew mi di ñaanal suñ njaboot gi am mboole mbokki julit ci àddina bi fii ak suñ dëkk bi fii nii rawatina nag suñ dëkk bi dañ soxla ñaan yàlla génne ñu ci wax yu bari yi le yàlla defal ñu jàmm ñu am yoon boo xam ne dañ ko dox boo xam ne yooni jàmm la te yàlla defal ñu jàmm rek lañ bugga yàlla ñu yàlla defal jàmm balaa ñu def ñaan bi kon ku nekk rek ci sa xel na nga xalaat sa réew xalaat mbokk yi ak njaboot gi ñu ñaanal leen yàlla musal leen te muccal leen ci feebar yu bari la nekk ci kaw àdduna si ba pare nag ñu gën a ñaan nag pour yàlla nangul ñu lépp loo xam ne jaamu nañ ko yàlla defal ñu jàmm ci beneen at yi ñëw te yàlla bàyyi ñu fi ba mu yàgga defal ñu jàmm kon ma dugg ci ñaan bi bismillahi rahmani rahim alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin rahmani rahim maliki yawmiddin iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in ihdina siratal mustaqim siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin amin فلله الحمد رب السماوات ورب الأرض رب العالمين وله الكبرياء في السماوات والأرض وهو عزيز الحكيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي تام الليل الفجر بحرمة اللهم فصل وسلم وبارك على هذا النبي الكريم سيد سند العظيم ذو القلب الرحيم سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين
Amen. Shukran, Imam Jallo, and thank you very much again for those special prayers during this last 10 days of Ramadan. Bishop, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Lord God Jehovah, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. You have created all humankind in your image and in your likeness, and have planted each and every person in the different nations of the world. We continue to thank you for our preservation. Thank you for our protection, and thank you for your providence over each and every person living in the world. And so we continue to submit the witnesses that will come before the TRRC today. And we pray, Lord, that you shall grant them the boldness to be able to speak the truth, and grant the commission the discerning spirit to discern between truth and falsehood. And we continue to ask that you give the population of this nation, the diaspora, and the international community as well the extraordinary patience to allow the due process of the proceedings and the commission's work to take its rightful place. This we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much indeed, Bishop Odiko. We had announced at the end of the 23rd session, the last session, and repeated the same announcement at the beginning of this 23rd session, that we would be concluding our public hearings at the end of April. We have since reviewed the work plan again, and as you saw yesterday, in the middle of a theme that we were considering, there's a focus on the justice sector institutions. We came up with a regional hearings item. That is likely to happen during the next 3 weeks or so, until the end of May. After reviewing our program, we revised the calendar, and we are going to continue with these public hearings and the insertion of residuals as we go on until the end of May. And the report writing has commenced, and it would continue, and also during the month of June, with the view to ending the work of the Commission in June, at the end of June, as we have been, our mandate has been extended to the 30th of June. The details of some of the views that we expressed yesterday or concerning the extent, the work program, lead counsel, if you can just explain that to the public, I would appreciate it if you give the details.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning to you all. We still have some bit of work to do in order to complete the mandated tasks. This list of outstanding activities really is based on an assessment of the evidence or the information that has already been collected. And we still think that there are some gaps which need to be filled. And we have come up with a revised work plan which would require us to continue holding some public hearings in the month of May with a view to ensuring that we cover all the bases, so to speak. The first and the most significant work that we need to do is actually based on the mandate on the issue of enforced disappearances, where the mandate requires us to establish the fate and whereabouts of persons who have been disappeared. We have done extensive work in this area, but there still remains some work to be done. So the Commission would in-house, through evidentiary analysis, look at what has been done so far on this particular subject, and to establish or to determine which victims we were able to establish their fate and whereabouts, and those that are outstanding, and to also determine what is the problem with those particular cases, and what is the way forward. If the Commission finds that for the purposes of our work and the timelines that are available, this would continue to be a cold case for us, meaning that we have no possibility of making any significant headway, we would acknowledge that fact and try to make recommendations to the government in our report as to how to deal with these issues going forward. So that is a very significant aspect of the work that we have to do. I can confidently say that for many of the enforced disappearances, we have been able to account for the victims to establish their fate and whereabouts during the course of the Commission's investigations. And I can just give a few examples. It's been the story that the government gave with regards to, say, Dabamaraina, Manlafikor, Aliulo, and others, was that they were being taken to Janjambure, and the vehicle in which they were somersaulted, and those individuals escaped. So that was the story, and when they escaped, they've not been seen again since. And that was a clear case of disappearance because they were in the hands and custody of the government, and without any good explanation, they have not been seen since. But through the investigative work of the Commission, we have been able to establish that these people did not even run away or disappear as suggested by the government. They were executed by the junglers on the instructions of the head of state, and that they were buried in some unidentified graves somewhere in Kanilai. So when we look at the issue of enforced disappearances, these are the kinds of things we would be able to address in that particular report. And for those cases wherein, well, we have not been able to make any significant headway, for instance, the case of Kanyiba Kanyi, we should be able to explain that this is how far we have gone. This is the snag. We could not go beyond this point, and then we make recommendations for future activity. The other point we have to look at is some unlawful killings for which we had started an investigations, but we could not really carry it to conclusion. One example is Mariama Kamara, who was killed at Hamza Barracks together with her husband. We have established the fact of the killing, but we have not been able to establish who actually carried out the killing. But considering that these two individuals were in fact employees of the government in the armed forces, and they were killed in a government barracks, and the government did not take any significant steps in the investigations, would in fact seem to suggest some government interest or involvement. But we cannot leave it to assumption. We have to progress the investigation to its logical conclusion. So we will reassess this particular case to see how far we can take it, to see whether we can really reach a conclusion on this. The other issue is the attempted assassination of Honorable Justice Usman Silla. On this particular one, we were expecting some junglers to come and testify, but unfortunately, that could not happen because of certain unforeseen events that have recently taken place, making it impossible for the concerned witnesses to come and testify before the Commission. As it is, the situation could change possibly later in the coming days or weeks. So we have developed a strategy as to how to put together the relevant evidence that is available out there on the attempted assassination of Honorable Justice Usman Silla. And in that regard, what we may do is try to put together all the open source material on it, including interviews by both the victim and other perpetrators, and then we put the evidence in through the investigating officer and see what the Commission could make out of that. I think we should be able to make a compelling case of that in a public hearing. There are certain site visits that the Commission should also carry out just for the purposes of completeness of the work. We have to visit certain interesting places, possibly in Kanilai and maybe outside the jurisdiction, with a view to trying to collect more forensic evidence about the situation in those places. I see Ms. Commissioner Kerr is raising something. I just do not wish to give full details of what this particular inquiry entails. And that is why I am skirting through some of the details. I'm sure you would understand the consideration behind that. Thank you very much, Mr. Kerr. On the issue of the 30 December, there's been questions have been asked as to why the Commission did not make that as a theme for investigations. We have to be brutally honest to the events that happened in this country. Much as many Gambians, if I may say, most Gambians would want to believe that as at 30 December 2014, Jammeh's government was illegitimate in the sense that it was a brutally repressive government against the Gambian citizens. That is a view that many people would hold. But nonetheless, it was still the lawful government of the Gambia. So an attack on that government would still be treason under the laws of the country, which makes 30 December attack a crime under the laws of the country, even though for some people it could be seen as a legitimate attack on an illegitimate government. But that is a matter for debate. But the Commission is not necessarily so concerned about the politics of that. We should just remain focused on the law, and the law is that the attack was a crime. Our mandate is not necessarily to investigate crimes. Our mandate is to investigate human rights violations. And therefore, we cannot really put a focus on 30 December attack. Just like we did not put a focus on the Farafenni attack or on the Kartong attack. But however, the aftermath of the attack of 30 December led to a lot of rights violations committed by the government. Like, for example, family members of suspected perpetrators being arrested and detained and sometimes tortured over extended periods of time. And that is punishment by association. You punish a person simply because the person is related to someone. So this aspect of 30 December attack has been investigated. But we are also considering the violations of rights of direct perpetrators of 30 December. And we are looking into the possibility of calling a witness or two on that particular subject. This is not really to denigrate or to trivialize the significance of 30 December in the political history of Gambia. No, we're just staying true and focused to the mandate, which is to investigate human rights violations. So 30 December attack would serve as a context into our investigation of what happened to those who were suspected to have been participants or related to the suspected participants. But that aspect has extensively been dealt with. We've called a number of witnesses on that, but still we're hoping that maybe we can call one or two more witnesses on that. The Commission has also realized that its work is perhaps not felt in certain parts of the country. Some communities think that some of the rights violations that occurred there have not been dealt with in the Commission. This certainly was by no means deliberate. We were guided by mainly gravity of events and also the complaints made by the people and the thematic approach to the investigations. But in order to ensure that we have reached as far as possible in all Gambian communities, we have decided to hold sit more hearings about rights violations that happened or may have happened in all other regions of the country wherein we have not had significant witnesses. And that is why yesterday we had victims from Jambanjeli. So hopefully in the coming weeks we would hear victims from other places like LRR, CRR, or URR. Then there is this important allegation that has happened in this commission. And I use my words advisedly. It's allegation, simply because we've had only 1 or 2 witnesses or anecdotal evidence on this subject. This is the issue of missing babies or babies being sacrificed. The members, the audience may recall, or the commission may recall, the testimony of Silaba Samate, wherein he talked about on 3 separate instances where babies were brought to the NIA, and he believed they were being taken to Kanilai for sacrifice. The commission has also had evidence in private suggesting that babies were also sacrificed by the former president, Yahya Jammeh. So we have these 2 pieces of evidence on this subject matter. And the commission values the importance of addressing violations against children, and that is why we had a Gender and Children's Committee which would look into gender-based violence and also violence against children. So the commission deems it important that this aspect, these allegations, be looked into with a view to seeing whether there is anything really to substantiate or to support it. So in that regard, the Commission has devised a plan to look into this, and that may at some stage perhaps possibly crystallize into public hearings wherein we would receive evidence on this matter. But it's all a matter for investigations at this stage. It had partly been investigated, but it would require more investigations to move it from the realm of an accusation to at least maybe some prima facie case that these things did occur. So we would look into that. We had at the beginning of the year indicated that we hope to have sexual and gender-based violence hearings part 2, but the investigations has not really yielded sufficient evidence to warrant a second bite at the cherry. But there are certain residuals that the Commission would want to look into. So we hoping to call at least 2 more witnesses on this. These 2 witnesses had been earmarked a long time ago, and their statements had been taken. But we were hoping that we would receive more, which would warrant an SGBV part 2. But as it is, we would have these 2 witnesses at least. And there are some significant residuals. There are some important witnesses who we still need to hear to give us a better understanding of what was happening, and to better give us a better understanding of who President Jammeh was and some of the things that he did. So for that, we have earmarked 2 important witnesses who we will call sometime this month to tell us more about these things. And of great significance also would be on the Langtombong Tamba case. Why that case? What actually happened? And who did what? We know who was charged with what. We know who are the witnesses, but we need to know the antecedents. We need to know the motives. We need to know the context, the underlying reasons behind that case. That would, I mean, it would set the record straight, at least for the purposes of history, actually what happened in this country with regards to that. And finally, the last issue, the Commission is considering getting a women's perspective about the violations that happened in this country. We've done the SGBV, and I think we have had very important hearings on that. There is also an important report that was produced, I think is by ICTJ, on the experiences of women during the 22 years of Jammeh. Certainly not all of that would be relevant for the work of the TRRC, but a good chunk of it is significant and is directly on the issues and really support the body of evidence that has been put together by the Commission. So to further validate that and to better enrich the material that's been collected, the Commission is considering calling at least representatives of women who would talk about the experiences of women generally on the issues that concern the Commission for the mandated period. So these are the issues that we hope to deal with during the month of May, and hopefully this would ensure greater completeness of the work of the TRRC and would further enrich the body of evidence that's already been collected. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, indeed, Council, for those details on regarding the supplementary items we are taking up now until the end of May. We will endeavor to complete these items as much as we can, and we would then continue working on the final report of the Commission and close business on the 30th of June, and hopefully present the report to the President a few days thereafter. But thank you again for those details. Council, if you're ready with this morning's witness, you may please proceed now.
Mr. Chair, my colleague Sagar Jahate would lead the witness. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, Commissioners and members of the audience. We are ready to proceed, Mr. Osher. My apologies. The witness is by video conference, so the usher has nothing to do with it. I will refer it to the technical people. Thank you very much. Can we have the witness on the screen, please?
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Conte, can you hear us?
Yes, hello, yes, I can hear you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We thank you very much for agreeing to testify before the TRRC.
Thank you for the invitation.
Are we having the Mandinka interpretation?
Yes, we are here.
Can we start?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Can you interpret what I have just said, or would you like me to repeat it?
Okay, repeat it. Let's go.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Conte, and thank you very much for appearing before the TRRC this morning.
Akoy sama Mr. Conte inumbara bake isonta ka finti TRRC nyatilung la nyinsumanda.
Thank you, Council, and thank you, TRRC, and thank you to everyone who is involved in this process. And thank you for the invitation. to be here today.
Sedo fanang ay TRRC numbara ay council numbara ay mobile numbara fanang akase wota purka finti TRRC nyatelung la nyinsomanda.
I understand it's about 4 a.m. over there. So we are really grateful that you're up this early to testify.
Council ko ngalon ko je talanna ni wato suba albeoleto bari nyinketanye sewoti isonta purka sede aroke.
Yeah, this poem here, and but I'm so grateful. I mean, to be here at least to give TRRC my view about the regarding the subject matter of your investigation and proceedings.
Akita sewoti jona tonya talanna ni suba ifanale beoleto de bari midu nyinketata fana sewoleti purka funti TRRC nyatilungula kumo membada purata finansio itandi ka banke ka fomuli inyanta dia mu menkela.
Before we go any further, I would like for you to take the affirmation. Because you are not physically here with us, we are not able to swear you, unfortunately, but we are required to affirm you.
Abjanimbe luna kulu kuna belafila nyina puru abekole ko kaliole mdorong ibe menkela wairi mantara jamfanto dame be kurano dune bulu ye kali barbitun halimbi ka bambandi ko ibina membe fala bebe kala to nyalti wala na laftawla.
Can you kindly repeat? Can you kindly repeat after me?
I
affirm that.
I affirm that. I, Samsideen Conteh, affirm that.
I will speak the truth.
I will speak the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
Thank you very much. As you know, my name is Sagar. We have already been introduced. I will be guiding you today in your testimony.
Ako yalo nyameng ato musagar ledi komando albendanu ayafa itandila yalo ne.
You can hear the interpretation in the background from Mandinka to English and vice versa. We also have various other interpretations into the local languages. So please take very short statements.
Akabe la manian lenyina ko kanna soro nyi ba mo la duma la ni nyini ngaro kera bar hanin kabi fanan kango do fanan be kanna soro kanne siyo kono jang.
Okay. All right.
To also avoid overlap in our speeches, kindly listen to my questions first before you respond.
Nung hanin kabi abedan la fanan ning ay nyini ngaro ke isi wati dandam bula folo janni be jabiro gale saje alla kuma kawol nying itesela la nyokang.
Okay.
I understand you're also quite soft-spoken, so we would appreciate if you would project your voice so that we can hear you more clearly.
Nunga imfana mfaham la ko ila dia mo nying aka mang saribake bari isi kang sikan domanding purung ila dia mo nying moy.
Yeah, I will do my best.
We will appreciate that.
Dia la nyabak.
Just to give you a brief overview of what we'll be discussing this morning.
Silo itandila domandin rom be fanal men kachala nyin somandalna.
It's going to be on a very discrete issue on judicial interference.
Abekela kule me yalon ko kidio tamandirinya me yalon ko walka kenung dabulo men ka ko nyinto.
We would like you to give us your experience whilst you were acting as a magistrate in the judiciary.
Belafla ite kachanye kulo me melon ko la me yalon ko wala ketela nu tumala men wato e munun kiti lati kiti bundar.
I hope everything is understood and you're ready to begin.
Njikita ya be faham len lafta men nandu be parere na purunga kachanye ndamuta.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, kindly give us your biographical information, including your name, your date of birth, and your occupation.
Ndema ba ye to ni konton dina ni ifam kibaro menti anila wuluta mentola wuluta sanyu wala fana.
Yes, my name is Samsideen Conteh.
Ntomu Samsideen Conteh.
I was born in Faraba Bantam Village, Combo East District, West Coast Region.
Mbuluta Faraba Bantale bitum Brikama Tundolem Jeti.
When were you born?
My date of birth My date of birth is August 17, 1982.
Mbuluta August tiltan ni wulo 1983.
82, I believe he said.
82.
And where do you currently reside? Mr. Conte, where do you currently reside?
Mr. Conte, bela iko sainte ibe sabatri mintole.
Mr. Conte, can you hear us?
I've lost you for a moment. I don't know how.
All right, but can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Great.
Sainte yako ibe sabatri mintole.
Kindly tell us where you reside now.
I'm at Kent, Washington State.
Mbe Kent, Washington, Tundo Kang.
In which country, please?
Banku Juma.
USA, United States of America.
United States of America, Bangkok Kang.
And that's obviously why you can't join us today here at the TRRC in the Gambia.
Amunda bitang ben bitilo mendotang inimbe nyomo ka wolto ibe sabatri ndamendo.
Yes.
Kindly give us a brief history of your education.
Kumala sutun kamarong ila londo nyin karango nyi ya damur damira ning faya kumfa damento tariko nyin sata nyeba.
I attended Farabanta Primary School.
Nga follow Farabanta Primary Karambungol to.
From 1988 to 1994.
Kabo 1988 kata 1994.
Then from 1994 to 1997, I attended Nusrat Junior Secondary School.
Between Birimbata to 1988 for 1994, mbe Nusrat Karambungole ton.
I joined Nusrat Junior 94 to 1997.
Na follow 94 Nusrat Karambungo for 1997.
Then 1997 to 2000 and Nusrat Senior Secondary School.
Ndata Nusrat la Karambumbato kabo 1997 kata 2000 Sangokang.
Then after 2001, I joined did Gambia College. I was Gambia College from 2001 to 2004.
Ndata Gambia College kadamura 2001 kata 2004 Sangokang.
Can you kindly tell us what course you were pursuing at the Gambia College at the time?
Gambia College waro benebe lodi karangola je. Ibi mfanna jumale karankanje.
It was high teacher certificate.
Nga ITC le karanje nga HTC le karanje higher teacher certificate wala mkaramundo moro la makamo le moti.
Please proceed.
Then
year 2008, I joined the University of the Gambia Faculty of Law.
Between 2008 ngintata Gambia la University oto ila fanna menka lua karangoke ndunta oto.
After you finished your HTC course at the Gambia College, did you pursue any teaching after that?
Briela HTC karango bang college o nyinto fo inata na dun karandum to moriala la bang.
Yes, I taught for some time, but it was I had some other issues because I was not just into that. So I taught for some time. Then I decided that I should just quit and join university.
Ha nga karandiro kele wati sutunga mawo mebake bitum bari bitu wiring hammo mankenu woti nga karandiro kele rondo mandin nata boto tumole nata dun university onyinto.
Please proceed.
Then
Yes, so at the university I did my 4-year LLB program.
University oto nga sanjinani karango kije memu LLB makamoti.
Can you tell us what the LLB program is? What kind of degree is it?
First of all, LLB program wonying mu degree sifalam.
Is the bachelor's in law.
Ika fole bachelor's lua karango la karola.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Inumbara, Tenten.
So I completed the program 2012.
No program bang
May.
Mekaro no program bang Mekaro kono 2012.
Then I had an opportunity to join the judiciary after that as a first-class magistrate.
Alay bunda ele nyawtu mole nata dun na kito tamandi bunda la na kiti bunda nyina kadunje kake magistrate.
Then I worked for briefly. Then we joined the bar program at the Gambia Law School to do the bar professional course.
Nga karang nga odo ko ke wati strong bitu nata muru kana londo lafa ba program wala wo fanamu lua do ku bunda la karang leti intentenda o karang fananna.
And how long did you work as a magistrate before you went to pursue your bar?
Janni bela nyum ba kala itarta kitindiro kenyala fo wati jelu kake kitindir ladi.
It was, I believe, about 2 to 3 months because I was appointed June, July, August, September. I believe September, October, we started the bar.
Na mera kari sabalonde kadu June lem nga damuta July kata August karo kang bitungo tambiru lemu nata na nyimba programo damuta.
And how long did the bar program last?
Nyimba program mo nying ayata wati jellala.
It was for a 1-year program from September to June. I think that's when we did the exam.
Wo amunta sanji kililong kabo September karo kono lenga dati kata June kang.
Did you do it here in the Gambia and where?
Yela nyimba program mo yake Gambia jan anu minto le fanamu.
Yes, I did the bar in Gambia at the Gambia Law School. It was situated.
Ha nga karang ke Gambia la University to jang nga na ba Gambia la lua karambuto.
It was situated at it was opposite the former parliament building.
Amonta utumo aninna deputy bumba follow le betilindi nu nyola karang nyim nga kedaming.
That is on the Independence Drive in Banjul.
Independence Drive bedo nyim Banjul sata kono.
Yes, Councillor.
Jelem.
Okay, thank you very much. And after you finished your bar, were you successful, and what did you do after that?
Biri yela nyim ba program o karang nyim bang fo inata na ganyele bang andu inata na muneke kotenke.
Yes, I passed the bar.
Ha nga banyi nga ganyele.
I understand you did very well as well. My apologies for interrupting you. I understand you did very well during your law degree.
Nganyim faham le ko ya kata bakel nu ila degree program nying wato mene ba karang kan ya kata bakel.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Fo se ko ndim fo no nyawoto ba.
Well, I believe, yeah, I tried. I tried because I graduated from the University of the Gambia as the best graduated law student 2012-2013.
Nga kata bakele katu nga karang ketumo men na hanfo nga londi kondi boke. Bitun tel ngbe baka matakela to men nan tata talibo le kono men yalon ko telem talibe nyaton koluti men ye ganye basoton o loi karang la karola wo bundala.
If you don't mind me saying so, I believe you did better than try.
Ini ngameren safo no ya kata bakel wala fizara ka fo ko nga katale.
I believe I tried.
Ngamera de latala ko nga katale.
Thank you for your modesty, but you should be very proud of yourself. So what did you do after you finished your law school?
Then I
went back to work.
And where did you go back to work?
I I was posted to CRR North.
Yen samba janjambure tundo le kan CRR la Kabu Karola, CRR North.
Mr. Conte, can we just go a little bit back? Because you have already told us that you served as a magistrate even before you went to do your bar. Kindly tell us where you served when you started as a magistrate up to the point where you actually were posted after your law school.
Mr. Conte ngamurun ko madomanding afanyam bang ko mando ya afanyano biri yela university program woni bang yesa feroke kiti obunda nyinde nyatne tombon ke kiti telati biri ye kiti telati yesa mbado ko la mintole nu anu janni gabri yela bafa na nyimba yemu samba minto janni be ufudala woto.
First, after my appointment, I was attached. I did my induction at the Banjul Magistrate Court.
Bitung birina ko lu pareta karam la karola nga ko follow Banjul Magistrate kiti bundala.
Under, I believe we did. This was Alagbe.
Nga mera otumo memu kundon koti je ka fayne Alagbe.
What was his first name and where was he from?
Ato follow dung anu abra mintole.
I believe his first name is Tao, something like that.
Na mera to follow aseke for Tairo tibam misila wala.
And I believe he's from Nigeria.
Lata lokabota Nigeria le fanang.
Do you know if he was recruited locally or on technical assistance?
Yala na bang fo ala sababu ka nati do gola jam fo ya kurukuru gambia jande bang fo ya boni na manele ya nati jam pura na de marola.
I believe, he was recruited locally.
Lata la ko ya tab do kola banko kan jam fangoleto.
And how long did you spend at the Banjul Magistrates Court?
Anu itarta kiti o teyo la Banjul kiti bundato fo wati jelu.
It was for a month.
Nakarnan lekije.
How long did your training last?
Ila in karandiro nyinke karande puriye ke kiti telati ay wati jelelta.
It was for a month. The induction was for a month.
Abo datiro adamu to katlung woto karinani ngawle kewoto.
Did you sit on any cases?
A month.
Karkilin nakije.
Did you sit on any cases on your own during that period at Banjul Magistrate Court, or the entire period was spent training under Magistrate Taiwo Alagbe?
Four. Ilo karang wato nyinkono. Wati na nasoro ndala ba ite fang ye fansu ndia mota ya kiti ya. Fo yelo karang beke Alagbe le kotoba be karandi kan kasilo iltandira kiti o kata nyame.
Usually I believe, and I was attached to him, and so if he's in court, I will sit next to him.
Wairi yentela do ko nakindi atele bala. Natebe kito la be kiti bunkono. Ndeka si atele dala.
So you were not sitting on cases independently?
Amunta inana ibukasi fayi ka kiti o ta ifangwe ifansunta ye fansun kiti o ke ifangwe.
Yeah, no, at that time I didn't sit on cases. I was with him.
Hani wotembo mamfansun kito luta between wairi mbatele bala nkasi atele bala.
And after you finished your period at Banjul, what happened thereafter?
Biriyela o karong nyimbam Banjul inata muna inata ke kotenke.
Then I was posted to Bundung Magistrate Court.
Birimo pare la tele mu inata nsamba Bundung Magistrate Court ya nsamba wotoleto do kuala.
And how long were you in Bundung?
Izarta Bundung kiti bundato fo wati jelu.
I believe it was about a month or so, then I was moved to Canifing.
Ngamera asike ko ngakarole kije birimo botala lomo inata nsamba koteke Canifing.
Were you sitting on your own at Bundung, or were you still on the training?
Wato mena yesamba Bundung kiti bundato fo hani kabi kasi ifa yena beka kiti yolta ifa yebang fo hani kabi be mola koto.
Yes, I did. I sat on a few cases.
Ha mbadu ngakito ludolu tale mfangwe wato membije.
And who was the principal magistrate at the time at Bundung?
Bundung je kiti bundaro jumala munum principal o je memu nyaton ko de kiti ndal bila nyaton ko o wato la je.
At that time I can't remember clearly who was.
That's all right. Then after a month, you were moved again to Kanifing Magistrates Court.
Yes.
And how long did that last?
It was about a month too. Then we went to law school to do the bar.
Ngamira ofanan karkilin wuce o ngawla kije bitum biro batala lom natam ta muru katanna ba karangoke.
And during this time, do you know why you were frequently posted? Why the frequency in the different postings you had from Banjul to Bundung and then to Kanifing in a very short period of time?
Andung fokabula wato nyinkono. Ite alon na bawa dalilo me asabu ki yesa undin samdi yesa mba follow Banjul yebondi Banjul yesa mba Bundu yebondi Bundu yesa mba Kanifing o wati surundi nyinkono. Yalon na dalilo me asabu ba.
I believe, because I was appointed by, when I applied, I was appointed by, that time, the Chief Justice was Justice Ajim.
Nga long wotumo wairi yenteta kutakele memu Chief Justice ti wotumo ikafole Justice Ajim wotumo wale mu Chief Justice ti memata kitola.
So Ajim, I met Ajim taught us at the University of the Gambia Land Law.
Ajim yen karandile Gambia la University oto menketa banko fanan Kenya la luati banko keno lua.
So I'm not sure if I'm smart, but maybe he believes I'm smart because I believe I did very well in his courses.
Bitum malon fo nte fango ko nta fola ko nyamentale bar bitum atefe nyamentale wala na bitum ayo kolu ke pro ka wo karango ke aninka o makamulu ta bitum o dalilo le be sabula ngambira atayaje ko nyamentale do ko nyindo.
So maybe he saw something in me, and that's why he wanted me to go through those courses.
Namera kule jente to wotumo bitum wadalilo le ya sabu ate lafta prunte ngadung wo kran silo lula na wo silo ta nyanta tala nyamin purka tenteng do ko nyinkono.
In your view, Mr. Conte, the frequency of your transfers, did it have any adverse effects on the dispensation of justice?
Itela mira loto nyi sounding o me alon ko e be bulari nyono ma ila karola fa itela mira loto pour ka tonya sabatindi molla kidiol kono ma yamra e ko leal sabu yima yena ba.
If I can just elaborate some more, I'm sure in those different courts you went to, because of the time limits, you were not able to perhaps start and finish any particular case before you were transferred.
Ninga transahan ka binsa akono fanu ninye hani domandi wala nyinti ko nyinkiti ol sabunda sabol be sambala dinkirato isikiti o doltaje ite kumvala folo ye saundi kiti bunda do yo fanan damuta ite o kumvala be o sifanda.
Yes, it did, because some of the files I remember when I was going through some of the files before some witnesses finish their testimony, you have to be moved to another court and keep moving. So it definitely affected even the speed and the process.
Aye kito ludolu male katu hani failo lu nyinu fonglu men ya lonko e kadum bulo kono ninge jibe nga kolu menu dati nin tata domandi ndrong isaje wo sawndirolu no keta wo o katarle wo mambang nsita karadola yo wode wo muto nyalti ay kolu nasindle domandi do ko nyin na karola
an sedol fanan kidol beje ni la sedandro damuta hani buka bandron ite sawundi.
In fact, that is what I was going to come to. I believe that, or perhaps I should throw the question to you, do you believe that the different transfers or the frequency at which magistrates were transferred at the time affected the speed of cases, or did it contribute to the delays in cases?
anung han kabi lafta nala no nyini karole fa itala miral ya miral ko magistrate wol ni wala nyin kitin telalti ila wati sutun sound don ke bondin kidi bunda do yesamba en kidi bunda do itala miral ya mira woye ke diamol ni molla diamol men ike muta akela bango nyi aka tariyandi le bang fo aka mendi le bang.
Oh yes, definitely it did affect the process. And the process is delayed some because
ha to nyala ay kitolu jamal le nasindi ke sumayandi katunie kuma ya pakidrongi ma bang lota bo akakuo mendile.
Yeah, for me, if I start a case, I would definitely want to try to finish it within a very reasonable period of time, but they keep moving, and that definitely affected this and the speed of the process.
Nta mumolti me alon ko nga kitimen damuta nkala file nga atamandi wati kanyandi nkono nga bang anyanta kala nyamin bari bitunyi soundiro wonata sabule hanfo wo kitolu meni alon ko nke paki ikanasi kamme wala kadukundiro sabu wo kitol la karola.
So from Kanifing Court, that's when you went to the Gambia Law School, and subsequently when you finished that you were posted to CRR.
Munta kabo Kanifing Court biribo da Kanifing kiti bunda do wato la mitate la londi makamo nyinka kumva wala mitate la luwa karango nyinna Gambia Law School biriyo banda minata na murundi do kola ko memu kiti ndirla di hanka bi yesa onde janjambure tundo kan.
Yes, Councillor.
Ha kita wanyala.
And in which particular district in CRR were you posted?
CRR memu janjambure tundo kan yesa mba sefu tundu jumala kan.
It was CRR North, Georgetown, Janjambure, and Kuntao.
Amunta CRR North, wala CRR Kabu Karola, nga follow Janjambure, Kaboto, nga tentendule wala nyama, hanfo nata futa Kuntao.
You were a traveling magistrate.
Amunta ete mu kiti tela me yalon ko eka murumurunne, eka tamale.
Yes.
Ntemu kiti ndirla menka tani na.
Can you tell us how your role as a traveling magistrate was? I mean, how would you conduct your cases, or how would you preside over cases in all these different regions you were posted to?
Pesa fono komisong hanin kabri yeke nyi kiti tela me alon ko ikatamale kata dingirani kabu dingira kata fu dingira. Pesa fono komisong ay ikela do kol nyi landi nyaadi landu ka do kol nyi ikela siyo nyi ke mintole.
So I mean, I used to allocate some days to a specific location, for instance, in Janjambure.
Nka kitolu sotole dinkiral to komisali kama nin kumembe damento nka ke olto komisali kama nin Janjambure mu nsake Janjambure.
So for instance, on Monday I will sit in Janjambure.
Komisali kama tenango nsisi Janjambure.
Then Tuesday to Kuntao.
Talata lungu misali kama isaje nsita Kuntaur.
And Wednesday probably at Town.
Isaje ning arabo mu jama isaje nsita Kaur.
But I mean later on some of those cases dropped because I was trying to be very fast with some of the work that we was doing.
Bitumbirin ko tatafanya ta wo kitolu na tatala katunte nga katale purka jeko kitolu ninga memmadro nga tamandi tariya kono me yalon ko satara te mela ate dukundila anyama wala na ntenga na kulu tamandi onya.
Can you tell us what necessitated the need for a traveling magistrate in those regions?
Fesa fono nya hanin kabi mune jarete hala puruka manji kiti tela samba o dingiraro puruka tama o dingiralo bere ka bo dingirar kada bu dingiraro.
I believe that every citizen in that country should have access to justice, and not just justice but the quality is also important. So,
la talako mobe daoda nin kuketa inyanta tilimu nin tonya soton na leje wodali lole ya sabu ngalo wala nyin tanin na sabu andu kiti wakita kumayata le ngake anyama hanfo ko anyanta tela tamala nyamin ay ke onya.
So there was no permanent magistrate in any of these regions, and that is why you had to travel from place to place. Is that correct?
Amunta kiti tela te nyindingira do meyalon ko abe sabatiri njele. So wala ya sabu yete sambaje puri kari tama kapo dingira do kara dingira do.
Yes, ma'am.
Ha.
And was that as a result of scarcity of magistrates to do this, to be posted there permanently?
Fo dalilo membe ko ma wala nyindi ko magistrate wala mkiti tela nyingi dasatal no wala ya sabu nyimman soro no bam pour que sambaje wala taraje wato bela.
Yes.
Ha wala mtonyati.
And do you believe that as a traveling magistrate you were able to do justice to all of those cases in all of those regions, or did you face some challenges?
Fo ila ranyina lako kake kiti tela do meyalon ko ikatamala kabo dingira do kara dingira do ika tilu to nyani tilu sabati no nyimol yen bang fo ika kolya ko dol sorada.
I mean, yes, I definitely had some issues, and that was one of the reasons I believe I was transferred from Janjambure to Farafene and Essam.
Tonya kololu ka koleyale nka koleya kolu dolu takile lata la fangol nata ke dalilo ti meya sabu ina tambondi Janjambure kan saundi kan samba Farafene
an esew
aning esew ha.
And what are some of these issues?
Muna ka ke nyin ko dolti nyin koleya ko dolti.
I mean, I had an encounter with the governor at that time. He was
Utumo gofono wole kumandango ti memmarata o dinkirato kutamatale na tema.
Sorry, Mr. Conte, I wasn't able to hear you very clearly. Can you repeat what you said?
Murungam baye memfo ba mamoy.
I mean, I had it to the governor at that time.
Amunta ko ye mun gofono mun fen gofono mun gofono façon.
What was
Amunta kule soto dala ning gofono nyin tema kule dunta ning gofono tema.
Can you tell us what issue you had with the governor and who was he?
Afanya baye ning gofono nyi memo kumanda nyi ndina e mun kule soto anu atara mu jumati no.
And so the governor at that time was, I believe, was Mr. Ganye Toure.
Governor membije wole kumanda nyi wotumo ikafa ne Ganye Toure.
So when we went there, because we were directed to where I was posted, we were directed to go and meet the governor. As usual, maybe that was the protocol.
Mio adumbri yen abdo ko saundije ye nyina fonyen kon sitanga futa governor ma na nyati li nyola ka kulu bo nyoto ka to wolem sarto li nyil tamandi nyati.
So we had some issues like our accommodation. I mean, there was no place for a man.
Ko kolea mum men foloti wolem nyinti ko jiadula ko walafta kalam bulu kolea ko ti pour nyanta jiala dinkira mento mbe tarla dame.
So we had to I was let me speak for myself. I was directed to go and see him because he was the governor. He knew the place, so he could help. Because the judiciary, I mean, I don't think that's even proper.
Yo bitumbiri woketa yen sambaje inata nyine fanya ngafuta atema atelom governor ti atele ijelong pour atasi mako rodin tella nyanta jiala damento mbetar la damento pour ase mako pour ka odinkira nyini nyanta sila damento.
I was going to ask whether that was the role of the governor or the judiciary. I mean, who should have provided you with the proper resources to do your work as a magistrate, considering the fact that, you were traveling from one place to another.
Lafte nyini ngala wala no fa itela mira lo no fang gomu kumanda nyini na do ko wolti bam puru ka dingira nyini yete be sabat la dame ngamera fo kiti bundanyi mumem marling do kiti rukunya la wala la do ko muwoti puru yete la do ko ke edukeno anyama tumala men na ite mu kiti tela te me yalon ko ikatamal ka bo dingira ta ka bo kata dingira.
Exactly, and I didn't have to pay the price. At some point, the place I was not allowed to stay there, and I had to go around by myself looking for a place to to leave. He was just.
Umuto nyalti katu mbenun damento inata afole puru manyan natarla woto bitungo tumole ntafangole kumo wulita mbe murumuru na be pur katara dula nyini mfango yenyan tatarla dameng wo de wo mfango yo kele pur kadinkira nyini mfaye.
Considering the nature of your job, wasn't that a bit risky?
Ite yeni ya jube ila do ko nyin alhalo be lare nyame fo ite ya imamira wo fana manke kudi melan ko jawi atalaba.
It was, because I had to look for a place that was not even safe for me. But, you know, maybe sometimes I'm just stubborn. But I just wanted to serve the people, and as long as my conscience is clear and I don't fear anything.
Umuto nyalti wode akole yatalde barbitu wairi nte lafta do ko kala na moli ka do ko ken na bankoe woda lilo le yasabu mfano wakil tanga wasilota katu nte mo molti me alonko hakilo kono abesenari nen sondo mo besenari na miraro fana besenari wala nyama wala na wakil tanga okulu tamandi onya.
And even though you wanted to serve your country and the people, as you say, the conditions of service were not very good.
Hani kabi onyawa nyarandi nyama ibi watu yanga ni akendo nyisiro purka duko ke la moli memu la banku dingolti but hani kabi onya kilo nyama fana mbari al halo nyimbe lari nyama no inyana duko ke la nyama amanke kudi me alongo ajanguda o nyama.
He was terrible.
Akole yatal nunde.
Did that attract people to the post? Is that one of the reasons perhaps why there was a scarcity of magistrates at the time?
Ima mira wala ukonyi alhalo belari nu nyame nu ya ino mira wala fana ya sabu fana go kiti tela almuka soto nu adango doyata nu do konyi ndo.
Yeah, absolutely, because what I've experienced, I was at some point I wanted to quit, but you just have to sometimes just have to stay.
Abe onyare de katu konyi nkole atale watu wafona atasoto watu me yalon konti tata han fom pare tandahala iyo barbitu ne ajube dal wakil tanko mbatunga akatanga ajube mfaye drong mole entuje.
You've said that no proper arrangements were made for your accommodation. What about vehicles? Did you have a vehicle that was taking you from place to place?
Ya fo jango man ko landi nunga nyama nyana landi la nyama purila sabati dinkira anila ku kotango dol silandum tamaro nu yewdi lal moto.
Yes, I had a vehicle, but later on my vehicle, when I moved to Farfanya, that was when the vehicle broke down again, and I had similar encounter with the judiciary, and because it wasn't fixed. I had to use my own resources, my own money to fix the vehicle.
Abe nyale nga moto soto le nung bare birinna ta sawun kata fara fenye moto nyin nata ello soto wotumole so nga ko nyin nin kiti bunda nyin nata tilinyo la wo kama yo bare bitum birin akonyi manna bonyoto wato nata soto ngam fansun kodo leta kata nyin do ko la nyin dinkiral to nyanta tal damenuto.
And this was the official vehicle that was allocated to you by the judiciary?
Amunda nyimu moto de me yalon ko kitiyo bunda nyin ila nyaton ko nyi wonde o moto nyin tayadi la puru yake la do courante.
Yes.
And during the time that the vehicle was had a breakdown, were you able to actually do your work, or how were you able to get to the different places you needed to be?
Wato mena nyimuto nyimmen tata fati nyata ikela do ko nyinkeno nyadi le ko tumala mena to kiti tela de me alon ko ikatamal ka budingira kata dingira.
Yeah, so when I had the issue with the governor, because first there was a particular case.
Birinin ko nata soto kuda ta dun nin governor tema katu kiti dole nata soto kito me yalonko.
It was about giving false information to the president.
Wo kito tilinta mena wala mnyinti ka kuma soto balo ka kibar soto balo di president wala.
Do you recall the name of the case?
Yes, nyingo kiti nying ato yalo ne ba.
No, I can't remember the name of the case.
Aning hakilote wo mutanola nyin tembeng.
That's fine. Can you just perhaps give us a brief summary of the facts so that we understand the context?
Abedera ni ma hakilo ma di case ni ma tolong saying case ni tata nyame afonyambro.
I mean, the accused person was accused of giving false information to the office of the president.
Yemen tumi moni ya tumi nyina la kwa kibar soto balole di president la office auto.
I believe he wrote a letter to the former president, Yahya Jammeh, about the governor.
Ngalong amari letero le safe letero me ya lon ko governor la kolu Kenya ayole safe je ka letero ki president oye.
Was it the same governor that you mentioned before?
Okumandan kilingo lamba yemen to fonu command.
Yes.
Ha wole mate kumandan kilingolom.
Kindly repeat his name for us.
To murun kambang ya fo bang.
Gani Toure.
Atomo Gani Toureleti.
All right, thank you. Please proceed.
Inumbara tendeng.
I mean, so he was being prosecuted because I found the case file there.
Namlo ibate fongo kiti ndikarne katundenga ukito la file fongo tarajele.
So, I mean, when I went through the file.
Bilim futata je nga file nyin soto tumome na nga kono jibe ka kolu karang.
I mean, then I thought to myself, because the office of the president is in Banjul.
So nga ko nyin jube nga miram faye nga woto president la office obe fo Banjul le.
So I thought, I mean, with respect to the territory, I think the proper jurisdiction would be Banjul.
Bitun kumembe lari ngonya wairi president la office obe Banjul le woto nga nyin mutako kito nyin na ladula tilindi ngo wonyanta kala Banjulu sate wole konoti.
So I thought maybe it was ideal to transfer the case to Banjul because
bitun wala nante fana nata nyi miro soto pour woto nyin kito mbatu nga sawndi ay ta Banjulu yeta ko nyin kiti woto.
Was the accused person resident in CRR at the time?
Fo tumi morning fo am molti mi alan ko abe sabatrin CRR tundole kamba.
Yes, I believe. I mean, he was from CRR.
Allah Taala mari benu CRR le.
Okay, kindly proceed.
Tendeng.
So the governor didn't like that.
Bitumbringa oke onya kakito saundi wa manna dia kumanda unyi yede amandia governor ifreng.
Immediately I did that. Usually because we used to go to his residence, so I was called.
Bringa oke onya durong otumo lem inatante kumandi puru nyin kamala ngatanda kung atela.
But he wasn't speaking directly about the issue, but I could sense that he wasn't happy.
Ala kumakango lukono. Amunta kumo samba nyamin amang kumo nyimfo atola baribitung kumo nyin tanya ya itandiko abe nyin kukari lela kumo lufokang.
And then after that case, there was one case.
Biri obotala kiti dona to soto.
Somebody, it was civil, I believe it was a civil case.
You believe it was?
Civil case.
Wale moni mote makito.
Before we move on to the next case, kindly tell us why you felt that Governor Toure was not happy with the decision that you made.
Janni be tende no kiti fulanya nyindi la flamena na kumo fora dang afu fo yalo ne dalilo me asabu birite o kan nyinta pour ka o case nyinta kidia mo nyinta ka saundi na Banjul yalo dalilo me asabu kumanda o nyin amanse o kan nyinka yementa.
Yeah, if the case was in Banjul, I think because I felt something was not wrong because the accused person even came to his residence, and I saw it was an awkward moment.
Na mera konyin tata nyamindal alafta keja uyale kato hani yemen tu mifango anatale fo ate fango la bungoto yo bitun kolu nata la nyaming dal aketa ku kolengol ti dal.
Probably he was just using his powers to intimidate.
Mosafo no fang abala sembole tamandi kam pour ka nyim Mario silandi.
Sorry, who was using his powers to intimidate who?
Jomala be munafang kang wala sembola no pour ka nyuma silandi.
The governor to intimidate the accused person was able.
Amunta governor lebe tumi monyi silandi kan ala sembola.
And do you know whether or not he was also interfering in that particular case?
Yala ne bang fanam fo imalo bang fo ate governor nyi mema ate kumanda nyindi fo aba dabula kan o kiti onyi fanan kono le bang.
You know, interestingly, I've learned that, you know, because that, I mean, they used to influence certain magistrates who were around the area.
Nata men korosi je. Wala mnyindi ko nkafo men naten kadabula kitol to kitirla dolu menu fanan lu men ya lonko e tambitani njela. Nyin nata nyinje ko aka ala kango dundi wolu konole aka hammo dundi wolu kono purate lafta ko la nyamin ay tamawonya.
Could that have been one of the reasons why the case was moved closer to home so that the governor could have direct access to the magistrate?
O ila miraro wala manke ko nyinde dalilo me asabu ye kiti onyinta ya saundi ka sutiandi sula isaje suo kono isaje governor memu kumando nyinde isaje asisilo soro no nyinka kango soro nyinkiti kono.
Yes, because I believe I've heard it. I mean, they influence a couple of magistrates and then tell them, like, you do this, I mean, tell them to do this, and then you do it or you face the consequences. So I've heard him say that, like, micromanage some magistrates.
Amunta keta wale nyama katu mbata nyinkala mangamo kitindirla ludolo aka kangole diwo la kafo enko iba kela tenne ibe nyinku kari kela tenne ni onte ni mawoke ibe nya tilin na kole ya kula le men ya lonko ibe takila amunta dala tengani yo munyine puru ate yo magistrato la ko tamandi nyama ate lafta kolu ye kenyamin pour ka wolu dundi woto.
And who did you hear that from?
Yo mo jumala la Carola.
He himself. I mean, because we used to visit him at this place. Which was later on I did that.
Amunta te fangolom kadu wati soto ndankatale ala dinkirato wairin kataje nkataraje bitu ferete je ko kundi ntamata je fo ay lankena man ngalonga ko nyin tamata nyamin wairin katala dinkirato le.
You heard it directly from the horse's mouth.
Amunda yamo ya tafangola da kono.
Yes, yeah.
Ngama ya fangola.
And was he able to do, my apologies, was he able to do the same thing with you?
For okukilingo nyakiro nyama fana wala kete fana naba.
Yes, and he even went up to the office of the Chief Justice and reported me there.
Ayoleke andu amanda woto ate tatale hanfo Chief Justice fangola office oto katante kalamije.
My question was he able, sorry Mr. Conte, let's just give a few seconds between my questions so that we don't overlap.
So demanding isaje na diamol nyinkana selo nyoka.
I was asking whether he was able to interfere with your functions as a magistrate at the time.
Ngame nyininga wala nyindiko fo ay silo soro la bampurka dabula no ila kitio nyinkono waro mene munun kiti telati.
Or perhaps I should say whether he succeeded at doing that.
Waranto nsafo no nyinyala kafo ko fondung aganyeta le bampurka ka oke ka dadung itela kitio tamandiri nyato.
He tried, but he could not.
Aya katale de bara amante kalanno amam malankunno.
So you were quite different from the previous magistrates that he was able to manipulate.
Amunda eda kidi tela de me yalon ko ifatata la ini do nyol men yalon ko wolle lo benu nje jannita binaje.
Yes.
Please proceed.
Tenten.
Yeah, because at some point I was so angry
Katu watina ata soto nkamfata ne lumbake.
In fact, I even wrote a letter to him.
Hani fonga letero fango safe kaki ate fango ye.
That if he continues to interfere in my work,
Ning a continue ta kadabula ntela do kuoto.
I was going to arrest him.
Mbita la lenga muta.
And how did that go?
My clerk, who was Abdullah Sankare, he told me, no, just forget him, ignore him.
Nakla ko tumu ka fami Abdullah Sankare wala na tadia munya ko nyangani ko kana ko samba onya inya kasiyatela.
Please repeat what your clerk said to you.
Ila clerk ko e memfo e as inkamba e memfo e.
He told me to ignore him.
But did you actually write to him threatening to arrest him?
I wrote
the letter, but it was me, but I didn't.
Okay, you never delivered the letter.
Yeah.
Later on, it
would have been quite interesting to see how things turn out if you had done so.
Yes, it was just crazy.
All right, thank you very much for some of those examples on judicial interference in your work whilst you were at the CRR. Can you perhaps tell us what your views are on interference with the judiciary or interference with the work of magistrates? I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Kol katara lani nu nyaadi le dabulo men kay dabulo men ke kitiol tamandiri nyaato wato men na ibenu kitin imunu kitin kiti teilati janjambura tundo ka memo makati tundo kandi wo wato la.
Throughout this theme on the justice sector, we've been talking through various witnesses about independence of the judiciary and the important principles underpinning that.
Nain siyo nyimbe kono be kitio la fanna men jube kanteng diamol finde da wolem kiti bunda nyin taramfambulo nyin aning de tol me yalon ko wolle kadunga koto watol nyin kono.
Perhaps through your experience as a magistrate, you can tell us a little bit just about the importance of that principle on judicial independence and how interference from the executive or other sectors undermine that particular principle.
Asikeno ila londo reite menje woto wolem kiti bunda nying ala fanna nying ala taramfambulo aning de rodol me alon ko le ka findije dunnunje dabulo men ka keje me alon ko kabo santo de wolem executive wolem ya jame na la bala moldi ke dabulo men ke ko nyingo kiti o nyin tamandir nyaato no wato la ita londo to yemel lonje ise o fonye.
I mean, the courts are usually generally the last bastion of hope for people, especially the weak and the vulnerable.
Can you please repeat that line again?
Yes, I said courts are the hope, last hope for people, especially the weak and the vulnerable, the powerless people.
Katu wo bunda lem bunda tme yalonko jikin na bunda lem pru molu men yalonko imang kango soto be kango londele nyamen aning sembe fanantela men yalonko sembo doyata ila lodulalu mambambang amunta wolulaji ko bunda amunta itele ke singolo wala kang.
It should protect the rights of people, especially for me, particularly the minority and the weak, the vulnerable. These are the type of group that need protection.
Inyanta molle mako ila ke kanta ke tankandi meni ya lonko iketa semben tangol leti menu fanalu man kango soto ila lodula luto itenyanta mako ro dila wolle la nyin kamala ni sulata ye mako yi ke londisilo kan ke kanta ke tankandi man toro luma meni ya lonko wolle si batandi.
I mean, if not, it's just gonna be the jungle, the survival of the fittest. Whoever can feed on the other. If there's no regulation,
Naman kewonya bina kela wula kono luwale tide meye menno ye okunum yo adu ninga natana lwa wole nyama wobe kela kuliti me yalon ka bekeja yala bakele.
So allowing interference, usually it's the powerful people who try to influence the courts.
Ni ajube jama nyin dabulo kitolu kono bake sembe malu mene kangosoto wolle kallafi ke dabula kitolu to pour ke yele mandika ay ke nyama me yalon ko ite leftala wala nyama.
And if you allow it, it's gonna lead to abuse and people taking advantage of the other.
Adunina ta son wala amunta bitu wala mnyinti ko etel kawo kangole tamandi wo molu kameni alonko sembetela bitu ikana mantoro la wale kan kela nyantolu tinya.
So condoning judicial interference, you're saying, would allow the powerful people in the society to use the courts to oppress those who are weaker.
Amunta ka song dabulo la kitio la tamandiri nyato surtout kabo sembe malto o ko ka kume wulu wala mnyiti ko sembe ntangol nying jama kono ika wollel dete.
Exactly.
Kaka wala nyama.
And I believe that would also undermine other principles such as not discriminating against others, the impartiality of the court as well.
Amunta wala mnyinti fananko aka dolu fanalu ntora le kato wala mnyinti ko ninkiti bunda manna tilimuta mansilota men tilinta ibaje la ko fanankana ke kole adoleti.
Yeah, and fairness too, and even law and order, because if people cannot have justice, they might resort to other means.
Wala mtonyati katu tilingu ning kangole nyanta lola katu nimmolu mantonya soto iman tilingu soto woto asikeno ifanalie fere do tamandi ifanalu beji kirim ferolu menula.
That's a great point, Mr. Conte, because if the last bastion of hope, as you've said, has been undermined and compromised, then people will take the law into their own hands.
Yemen fonya Mr. Conte akumayata katu mola jiko labango mudamenti abe semberin tuku mumen na jiko membablu niyo nata tinya woto de bitunga be luata la fango bulo konolede.
Exactly.
Welem.
Please proceed if you have anything else to say on that particular point.
Tenten natara ye kumado soto be men la fala wakang.
So I believe as a judicial officer, as a magistrate,
Botontela tanyina la ko wairi nte mukiti ndirlalti mbe luani nkito do ko le bundala.
You should do your best.
Inyante la kato dango bele kela.
And not less powerful people, the government, the president, those authorities to use the courts to abuse or suppress other people.
Woto wonyanta kela nyame mawala mnyenti. Ite manyana silo dila sembe malula menu beko nying sembe mabalu kata ko president na nyon donyo kotangulu pour woliyo sembota kamantoro la mo kotangulu kameni ya lonko wolle keta duma la nkoluti pour ka sembota mandi wolukanga ni kela kango tamandi wolukanga manyan kela.
And from what you've said already, I believe you were able to do that very successfully, at least in the CRR.
Comme ya fo nyamenten sainde ite mu molti me ya lonko ya fo nyamenten ite o kele annun ya kele sotota satandita wato menna e benun munu kidi telati CRR banko kan.
Well, I think I tried.
Nga katalede na mira roto nga mira de nga katalede.
There you go, being modest again.
Kota ke abita amunta be fankela moti menketa ya fanka nyandi drong.
But considering the challenges at that time and some of the evidence that we have received, I believe that was quite admirable.
Ani kabini ya jibe ko kole ya kol men belunji anu ye den rol men di jang mosaje no kul me alongo anyabo warta.
We have digressed quite a bit, but perhaps let's go back to our plan, which was you were telling us the different courts in which you were posted. From TRR, where did you go to next?
Silang murun koma do mande ya fonyela nu ye komando nu ka silang gabri boda TRR tundo kan itara min dole kotenke.
So because of the governor trying to interfere in my work,
Katu governor lafta akadabula ntela do koto.
And I believe he went even to the office of the Chief Justice.
Mlata la ko do dalilo le fanga ya saba tata hanfo fang kata Chief Justice office auto.
What did he go and do there?
Tata munelaje Chief Justice officer.
Tata je pour kante kata kala mi je doron kanto kuyaje.
For doing your job?
In kamalete la do ko leke.
Yes.
Ha.
And what was the outcome of that?
Alo bolero nying mune nata na fintoro.
So the Chief Justice called me.
Birio kata Chief Justice yanta fanan kumandile.
Was that Chief Justice Ajim or who was it?
Wala mun Ajim tibam fo jomalam.
No, he was the Ghanaian lady. Did Ajima?
Wamugana muso nyineti kafumeye Ajiyamang.
Okay.
Yeah, so she called me and talked to me, but later on she talked. Because me and the governor, we cannot work together, so she thought it was best to move me to Farafenni.
Ayang kumandile na dia muta bare dia monyim fanan kola anata kolu jube nyamin ay nyim mirako ni ko tambita ning governor tema nyamin dal nte tenten nola nte kamben nola pour ka continue do ko la nyola bitu ngamira o dalilo le ya sabu atenata nte saundi kambondi je kansamba farafenye.
In relation to your conditions of service, there's a question I wanted to ask you about the availability of courthouses in these regions that you were serving as a traveling magistrate. Did you have courtrooms to sit in?
Inka sujining ila doko Kenya al halo nyama kumala menne mu kidi tela ni ko be santol to siara tundo kam mafan labde nyini kala fo kidi bungol be santol to ba kela kiti lo kenu dame to bang.
It's so interesting.
How is that?
Janjambure, Georgetown.
We used to sit in a police station.
Nkasi police station ole kono.
Wow.
And at Kausu and Kuntautu, I think, yeah. We used to conduct our sittings in a police station.
Anun kaurni nkunta urfanang je ulubeto nkakewale nyakili munyama kasi police station ol kono nkakitol keje.
I hope some of the locals were not confusing the court and the police station. Then in that case, I'm sure they would probably go and report civil matters to the police station.
Barida mira rasikeno sandoron kol na signol ni sandongol ni ite kol ni ite filila ka foko police station no anin kiti bunda ite filila wato do ni koleal so da malte mai kanata ko bole police station warra nyana la kiti mol.
I mean, it was so awkward. Sometimes I just feel, but for me, I was like the litigants, because my concern was the litigants. So I try to do my best to hear anybody who has any issue.
Akata wala nyama de akata kuke baloleti bari bitung nte hammo be hakilo be menu kan wolle men ya lon ko be kito nyin kono wo dalilo le ya sabu kanna kato dan ke pour kanyin kito lu tamandi nyama men se ke mulu fana la da daluti wo kito la karola.
And I do respect the police and I appreciated their work.
Andung police olu fana lu nge bunya ngela do ko fana bunya wala nyama.
I do not let anyone interfere in our work.
Nte fana ndumbuka song moya dabula ntela do ko nyin tamandoto.
But did that give them an opportunity, the police, for example, to interfere in your work since you were sitting in their premises? Did they have an opportunity to say things to you or to consult you when perhaps they would not have had that access, that direct access to you?
For na police ol nyinga na silo dila bam puru ke dabu etela do ko nyin kono ban tumala men na ibela ibe muna fankan ila kisansan wala ibe siri wala ibela kito ke ka wala.
No, I'm not that, because for me, if I'm from work, I go to home and sleep till the following day. So I was not going. I'm usually indoors.
Nte hane nte bukaso wala. Mbukaso wala pruitele dabula ntela do koto. Katu ninte nata ningana do kota mande funga mbandi. Nkasa isule ya. Andu wati jama ante katara suole kono ni mantara do kudla nkatara sinna bungole kono wala na nkatara tenkundi ndula kilingolo.
You've mentioned 2 places where you used to sit in police stations. What about the third area?
Ye dingira fula yo la fojang idamendi ala ko iko kasi ni bela kidio taman le kasi police la dingira la cordal. Dula sabanya mo min dolde.
It was at the police station. All these venues, places that the court used to sit at the police station.
Abe police station ol leto de o tembo kay wo kitol men ngeke ngawol beke o police station ol leto kasi jele. Aldo man sansa ngutumo.
Was it inside the police station premises or outside?
Police station kono lembang fo sansan kono lembang fo bantala.
Inside the police station, at Janganbure, they have a room in the police station, and Kuntautu, there's a room, and I did the couch, there was a room.
Bunkono katara jele, Janjambure, bunkono bijele nkasi daming, andun kauru fanang a bun fasongo bijele, bunkono bijele nkasi daming, andun kuntauru fanang bewo nyale ma, bungo bijele nkasi daming konoto.
And after you were posted to Farafenye, was that a permanent post?
Farafenye dung biri ye samba do ko la je la do ko sawndi je fo je mu dingira no ko be sabati la wolto la do ko ba kala je do ne ba.
So Farafenye too, I was posted to Farafenye and Esau.
Farafenye fanang biri ye sawndi je. Amanke je be mande Farafenye aning Esau ye na do ko samba wolleto.
You were still a traveling magistrate.
Ani kabi mum kiti tela de me alon ko e kata male kabu dingira kata dingira to yela kiti olake.
Yes.
Ha.
And what were the conditions there like?
Je dum yela ko al halo be lare nyaadi le.
Yeah, Farafenye was better, at least they had the court.
Farafenye le fisiata katu woto akata nyonyandi wole kiti bunda sotole.
What about Esau?
Esau dum?
Yes, and Esau also.
Aning Esau fanang?
Were you provided with security?
Tanko dum yet modi la membe la ko tanga ifamo tankala ba.
Ke kanda.
Ke kanta.
Did you have an oddly?
I was provided. Yeah.
Ha, ye makoy wotole.
Were you also able to have a driver for your car?
Moto bonorin la do yo fana dilal bam puri la moto.
Yes, yeah.
Ah, yo fanankele.
Very well. So after Farafenye and Esau, kindly tell us where you went to next.
Beri bu bota Farafenye aning Esau afanya bang ye samba minto la kotanke.
Also, how long did you spend at CRR and then at Farafenye and Esau?
Ani han kabi ngamur ko ma domandi yo wati jellel ke do ko la CRR memu janjambure tundo kandi aning Farafenye aning Esau.
I believe at CRR it could be about 4 months or so.
Lata la CRR de ngamera sike karnaniti wala dal wo ma fangola.
Then Farafenye too, I had, Farafenye and Esau is about 3 to 4 months, I believe.
Farafenye ning Esau fanang lata la ko kabo karisaba kata karnani kandal ngawle ko fananto.
And where did you go to next?
Biringi bota oto idata minto la kotanke.
So when I was at Farafenye, that was when my vehicle broke down.
Brimbe Farafenye wotumole munna moto tinyata.
Then I took judiciary to maintenance it, but it was hard.
Wotumole ngaka ngofutandi kiti bunda banyi mfoma ko isi fere ke moto nyin dada bare anata dukundi.
So I took the vehicle to the mechanic.
Wotumole munte fongo nata moto nyinta ngasamba moto dada lalia.
Then at that time I said to myself, since Esau is kind of closer, because I live at Serakunda, Dipakunda.
Bari nata jako Esau woto katata. Wotumole munata fero ke puruka ajibe fonsina sa uno kasi Serakunda dame mudipakundati.
So I told myself, maybe it would be better for me to, because I don't want to stay like that. So I want to travel to Esau.
waire kolu be wala nyama malla fi ngatara wotara nyama ndum be kar la tamala le kata esew.
So I was traveling from Dipakunda to Esau every day.
Utumole mbirin saunta Dipakunda nkata male luwolung kabodi Dipakunda kata kitol la esew.
And what kind of transportation were you using?
Sometimes I would have somebody to drop me to Banjul.
Tumodolun simo nyini memben sambala kanjindi Banjul.
Sometimes I would have to use a public transport.
Tumodolu ngabula jama motol la wala mnyin taxi olti pasas motolu.
So I made sure that I get up very early around 5 a.m.
Bitung wodoko ayasa bulen kawuli junale tala lulu suba nkawuli otembole.
I make sure that if I'm using the public transport, at 6 o'clock I'm in the vehicle.
Andu natara misal kama ngaja ko wolumbe tamala pasas motol la tala woro wakatar lembe motoko no mbitaka.
Then 7 o'clock I'll be up in the ferry at Banjul.
Tala woro wala pro saje wo jama wakatar lembe banyunu ferry woto pour kate.
Then by 8 o'clock I'm usually at Esau at the court.
Ibajala ko bitu jama talan sai wakatar lem futata kiti bunda la Esau.
So in such a dignified position as a magistrate, I mean, you would get on public transportation to actually go to work. I mean, how did that make you feel, and how did that also, I mean, how do you think the government viewed you as a magistrate and the important work that you were doing? Do you think that it was valuable to them? Service you were rendering.
Jamala muroko na ini jamala kata bula muroko na ikata itela mira loro be nyaade o ku maslango be nyaadi le itela mira loro masakunda itela do ko ya muta nyaadi le itela kuro fo ya mire ya ila ku do ko ya kumayandi la bang ika do ko menke.
For me it was service to my people.
Ndele ntenga jele ko mbedo ko ke kanna molle.
So as far as I'm doing the right thing, especially the communities there are the weak and the poor and the vulnerable.
Andu niaji be otumo ko nteka do ko ke molumeni molle men ya lonko bulome ko ben semben tangol le muiti andu molle men fentangoluti o dalilo le ya sabu ndefana nganyim makin ngaje ko mbatu ngalo nyilie.
Do you believe the government valued your work?
No, not at all.
Hani imanadu ko kumayandi utumo.
So there was nothing to really motivate you apart from the fact that you, in your view, were serving the people and you were doing it for them.
Amunda kuteje me ya longo yole ke membe de fanan sawarin le tela miro membe de bulro wala mnyindiko medo ko menke kan ba ke kan namolle.
Zero motivation, and that's one of the things that angered me.
Wotumo ko kullum bukake mensi hammo dundinte kono pour nga nyimmakin nga wakilin na do ko la karola wo fona ta ke kuti me yalon kana tan kam fa bak.
Because I mean, despite all that I was doing,
katuniaji be wotumo ntebe kato membe ke kanun.
When the Chief Justice Ajima was terminated, our services were terminated.
Bring ye Chief Justice Ajamang la do ko nyim bri ala do ko kumfa ya da handi do ko la.
Then the Pakistani Chief Justice Chauhan came.
Utumolem monata Chief Justice ya makamota me ya lonko Pakistan banku dingolem.
Can you just shed a bit of light on the termination of the previous Chief Justice, Ajimang?
Hangabi, yin Chief Justice member nunje yemena do ko kumva ka me Ajimang. Ala bayro nying foisa je kono fanu nunye no do mandemba.
Just briefly highlighting the issues of or the principle of judicial independence and interference. Did it have anything to do with that?
Fo comme misal fe wala dabulo men ka ke kiti bunda nyina kuta mandri nyaato jeng fo ay kusoro ba menni aning me alon ko anu bi sujiri na ba.
I believe it did because I mean she's a very strong lady.
ngalonko wodabi jele katu atemu moleti me yalonko musolo nyawnyandi bari musubambandi mba.
And that do you mean she was independent in the work that she did?
Alaw koto ilo koto mende wala mindi ko mole mat me yalonko akatara lori nga fayen na bal du ko kela buko suji mola.
Yes, and especially I see how to protect me from the government.
Anu ha bewole nyama sako ate la lodu la to nteni governor tema ate nata kemuti puru kan tang ka kataran ning governor tema nyin kamala wo nkana manto rasutoji.
Do you know how she was dismissed, the circumstances surrounding that?
Yala ne ya bay nyadi le kul belari nyadi le ya bay nyamemba.
I think at that time I was traveling, so I heard that services were terminated and you see, and something happens and she didn't feel safe. I mean, so she had to leave the country.
Abmbe tama ndio wairi nteka tama le kito la karola ngamira mbe utamo le kan nata moiko ya la doko londile ya dafanyondi doko lale abe doko menanu.
Thank you. You were telling us about after she left, the Chief Justice, the new Chief Justice was appointed. Can you tell us who that was?
Afon even barabake itarta ka fonyo no biri yeng ajimang ya dahande ala dogola inarana kitite da nyaron ko do tombong ikaf me
be Chief Justice
ko mendomo kuma fonya la ko bang.
The new Chief Justice, or the incoming Chief Justice, was Ali Nawaz Chauhan from Pakistan.
Chief Justice Kutome yata ikafole Ali Naha Chauhan wala bota Pakistan bank wakang.
And so my first encounter with him
Nala bem follow
was when he came.
Wala mbiranata.
At that time, my vehicle had a problem.
Otembo na moto ello soto.
So I was, as I told you, I was going to SL. Going to SL.
Andu watu le mbita kata kitolu ke SL. Kabufisera kunda kata SL.
Interestingly, I don't know, someone told him that I was not going to walk.
Yo, najube kuolu lalanya kama modona ata ufoa atenko konte bukata ado kuola.
So I was summoned to the office of the Chief Justice.
Bitu otumole na tankumandi katandanku purunga tandanku of Chief Justice la office oto.
To explain why I wasn't going to walk.
Purunga ta sata muna nante bukata ado kuola.
I mean, to me, that is an insult because I've been, despite all this sacrifice, I was getting up early in the morning to no transportation. I just trying to do this walk, and I was sitting in Essel. My clerks and everybody knew that I was sitting in Essel.
Unte kumo fede wo ketante fele ko nendirolem. Katunde nga kato membeke moto tembulu na moto ello soto bari wonyawnyanding nka wakili nka kata nkata pur kata kito luta adu nka kito luta daming ese wonka si daming ndam man kun kilingute na kla ko lu bijenu do ku nyolu bijen nimmen yalon ko ni wolle kasi kito lu kunna je woto nitel kana muri ko kuma façon lu fo womu ku sayin womu ntefe sayin ko mabaleti.
So I was really furious. I was really angry.
Awoto briwo kuma futanya ketanya kamfa baleti.
And I explained.
Between nata saye.
And he asked the master to go and check my files in Essel if I were to prove that I was sitting there.
Wotumolang anatanyin kangodi master of the court puru weta Essel katanyin ko kisi foto nyato nyanteka si kito lula jele puru aita o file lujube nka kito ke file lumenula.
Who are you referring to as the master?
Jumala munu master ti.
The master was the late Buba Jao.
Master momenti no wotumo wole mtala Buba Jao.
And what was his role?
Mona madela do goti at a master nying.
I believe he's the supervisor of the suburban court.
Na non ko tumo atele kaya maroke bo kiti bunda la kulu la tamanyala.
And am I correct that his the full title was the Master and Registrar of the High Court?
O mbetilin la banka foko molia makamo mendia la tu mendia ole Master and Registrar of the High Court.
Yes.
Ha, well.
Okay, please proceed.
Tenden.
So the master went and he confirmed that I was sitting at SL.
Birim master nyin tata je check atata na kutonya tonya mka kito lukele nka sile SL.
So that was the moment my relationship with the Chief Justice started, because he had respect for me.
Otembole mnakole akol damra kadun nin Chief Justice tema ko atanata kulu tamandi nya fasongo memma.
So he asked me, he attacked me to his office.
Anataka takante katandi kanakindi ala ofisola.
And he was assigning me to give some work, research works to do for him.
Andu otumo akadokolu dinna prunga kisikisiru dokolu ke ateye.
And what particular position were you actually appointed to in his office?
Ala ofiso kono je ye tombong ye mum palace le dila o wato la jeto.
I was still a magistrate, but he had a program, I believe was the codification of customary law in Gambia.
Otumo mu magistrate tide hanimbide. Yo bari bitum fanang katukungulu sembendi na bankola ada kiti nyalula otumo wodoko nyim fanang anata mbulobula wole kono.
So you were a magistrate, but you were not sitting. You were not sitting in your cases, or you were not presiding over cases.
Amunda munu kiti tela de bari mu molde me alon ko ibuka si la dia mol nye yela moy la cases ol yela moy ye kiti.
Instead, you were doing research work for the Chief Justice.
Bari amunda inata na as Chief Justice wala kiti la bela nyaton ko na inebal officer kono ikadogo kai ka kiskisiro kai al officer kono.
Yes.
Do you know if this was the first of its kind in the judiciary, this particular role that he had carved out for magistrates?
Fo yalo na nyinem doku follow de bang MM findindi pour magistrate le nyi doku civil ka kai.
Yes, yeah. I believe he was the first of his kind.
Nata ko nyim manka follow.
And what was the nature of your work at the time?
Anu ila dogo nyinga abe suje ni mfanna ju mandela wato la.
So he would give me research works, particularly
aka kisikisiru doko le dinna ka ajube
about customary law, because he wanted to codify customary laws in the Gambia.
Amunta kadu ko men dina wolem nyinti ko Gambia banko na ada kiti silolu na ada kitindiri nyalu puru nyin kamala nsi tukungulu londi wolu fanalu to puru itamandi nyalu to utumo ayo do ko le dinna.
How long did that particular sorry, please go ahead, sorry.
Tenden.
And also he started the Judicial Training Institute.
Ando a telefona nata ke moti meye yo ketindir bundalo karandiro nindiro damuta o bundal.
Did you say Judicial Training Institute?
Fa ko walam kidiri bundal nyina karandir bunda karango karabunda nyin.
For the training of magistrates and judges.
Ha puruka ketindir lalo nin kitite lalo fanalu karandi.
What was your impression of Chief Justice Chauhan? Was he an independent Chief Justice? Or was he one that was amenable to interferences like some of the others we've heard here in the TRRC?
Munu wetela korosir lati Chief Chauhan la tamaniri nyaro fo mu mole mat me alon ko abelori nga fayende makala kul ka fayende bang fo ila mira loro mole mat me alon ko ke dabula la kul kono mesal ka kumol bula da kono la be men fera be men kela la tamaniri nyaro do ko.
believe he is independent, but the environment was not just right for him.
Latala ko akala kolu tamandi nyamin aba fango bulule aka fango la kangole tamandi bari bitun kolu be a jenjengo la nyamin kolu be laring a fe nyamin dal a manke kuti me yalon ko yati fango fasa bake.
And although we are not going to go into that now, you will tell us later that he actually was dismissed by the government or by the head of state.
Nyara do mande ibo fola nyele to nyala nyala bango nyi inata na baile masakunda na baile mbelu njang.
Ha.
So how long did you work in that role, and what did you do after that?
Silang yedo ko ke palaso nyinto memu chief justice la office nyinto andung inata na muneke kotenke.
So I was there about 3 to 4 months.
Mbije bare atata hanu fo kabo kata karisa wakar nani kang.
Then I was again moved to Canifing.
Utumolem koteke inata mbondi woto yen samba Canifing.
After Canifing?
And from Canifing, then he wanted me to be at Banjul.
Bitum brimbota Canifing at a left on Puru Ngata Numbanyu Puru Katante woto Percatado Kola woto.
How long were you at Canifing?
Terra Canifing kiti bundar for what you?
I mean, it was about that time, I believe, for 4 or 5 months there.
Ngamera woto abektala karna ne fota karlulu nyonka ngawle wuche oke woto.
And how long did you stay in Banjul Magistrates Court?
Banjul kiti bunda ndi ngorong yewa itarda jefana for what you?
I was sent to Banjul. It was in November.
Yen so
14th.
ngamera yen samba Banjul November karo atiltani nani mafonda.
Then until my services were terminated on May 4th verbally.
Mbe wala to nun hanfo wato men inatante da handi do ko fa mume wala.
Kindly tell us. Please go ahead.
Officially, May 12th.
Bare akangona ta finti me karotil tang anim fulole.
So you were working with the judiciary as a magistrate for how long in total?
Amunta be niya be yirka itarta do gola kiti bunda nyinto for wati jelu ini mu kiti ndirlat.
About 2 years, 11 months.
Bitafo sanji fula karta ninkling.
Almost 3 years.
Mbida wala moya safa don sanji zaba. Abina wasila.
Kindly tell us the circumstances surrounding your dismissal.
Silang ila bayre nyanying afanya bang kol me alon ko wala be murling sujuri nga ila bayro nying skunyala.
I believe my services were terminated because of that case I handled.
La tala ko yen mbaydo ko la dalilo men kan wala mu ngakiti dole ta nga ta mandi nyama.
Which was the case of State Matijao and the State versus State Matijao.
Ngamira wala mkito te mayalon ko mansa ani State Matijao dunta nyola tumomen.
Give us some background into that case. Who was State Matijao and the context of that case?
Fondama odina o case nyindo bang atata nyame ba no jumala mi State Matijao ti.
State Matijao was a university lecturer. I believe it's
State Matijao mo karandiri la letinung ataka karandiro kenung university waleto.
They wanted to conduct research on Gallup poll study.
What study? Sorry?
Gallup
poll study. Gallup.
Munda ite lafta kisi role kela nung wo ka même foten Gallup ton lafta kisi role kela wole kuoto nung.
Do you know what Gallup polls were?
Yalla na muna Gallup polls ti.
I believe it's they gather information and conduct polls on, for instance, rule of law, governance, democracy, and they gather data and look for people's opinion about issues.
Womu kuleti me yalon ko e ka denne ye do ko ke ka kisikisiro ke ka molu ngani yolu jube ka jube molla hammo ni la lafinna kolu mu muneti isi si ya jube fanan pour ka kolu kisikisi molu la lafinna dalu molu la jerolu isi molu fanalu kacandi ka molu nyininka ila hammolu mu muneti fanan kolu to mararo ana nyon kotengolu.
They were doing some research on governance issues around the country.
Yes.
Ha.
Okay, please go ahead.
And then?
So I believe they conducted some training, for researchers, people they could use to conduct the research.
Namira inata karandiro fanankele kamodo lu karandi me ya lonko wolle fanalu bina duko ke la purka kisikisiro ke itolie ila duko nyintama ndinyado
And prepared questionnaires.
Anim fanan e ka nyinin karolu parendi nyanta nyinin kar façon lu men ke la purka wolu nyala tombong.
So they were on. It was during that time then the government and NIA they knew about their activities.
Ngamira wotembolem man sakunda nata kolu jibe ining enai eulu la kolu lanya.
Because maybe they were suspicious about them collecting certain information or data.
Ngamira
I believe
sobo keta nyine la ko ul fanal be kibarol wala ka kibarol le kensum wala ka kolu jibe dalete la sula kolu mentri pour ka kibarol ka funyoma.
And was that because some of the information they were collecting was surrounding the human rights situation of the country, rule of law, and these were considered, I believe, to be sensitive matters?
Oh, ko menti wala nyindi ko so bitala nyinda la ko nyuni be kisikisiro men ke ga wala nyindi ko ko dol be sujiri nding hada madi nyanto la ko la ani maral kendo andum kulle do mi alla te mi alon ko e ko ni ko be no masata bala akamane ba kene ba.
Yes, because the government at that time they don't. Maybe they were suspicious about things like that.
Ha o tembo de mansakunda be tembo men to tumo e kataria sobila le ku fasongol to ni ye momondi mbe do ku fasongol la e katara ete ka sobite mari la do ko la le.
Please repeat your answer. Your response and the interpreter were overlapping, please. Thank you.
Urungang ila jabiro nyinna ba.
Yes, I believe at that time the government would be suspicious of any information that has to do with human rights, good governance, rule of law.
Ngalong o tembo mansakunda ka sobile ko kundi na tilinta kolu la menube ko maralo banko kang hadama ya nyanto demokrasi ani o kufa songolu momondi yolu maitel katara sobiri ngo molu lale.
And do you know why that was the case?
Yeah, they believe that that could save the opinion of the people about the government.
Amunda wala nyinti don kam molu wobe molla ngani yole yitandila ye ngani ya façon men soto ani ye jeri façon men soto man sakunda nyi na karola.
Because it would expose those violations.
Kadwa binawo wanyaro le natila ikaw nyanta tinyalu menu ke ka kuruyalu menu ke molla amunda ulbe wanyarle
which they did not want exposed.
Andu ngitol mala fi way wanyar.
I believe, for instance, questions like if the president is a dictator, are people free to express themselves, or things like that. So, and the president will want that.
Yeah, ngalong ko wairi ka foko president mu sembela maral atemu sembela mararola kolu men betilina wala molla nyinin karol ni molla jero wo ku fasong la karola wo abukabu nyema.
And were those actual questions that Said Matijao and his group posed to members of the public, whether or not the president was a dictator?
fo set mati jaw na do nyolo tol nyinin kar sifale ka woldel findini jama kambang fo ka mo nyinin ga fo ya jamme president woni mo molde me alon ko sembela maralo aka wala ke ba mo nyinin kar sifal
I cannot remember clearly the question, but I believe questions like that were something like that.
Hakilo ta be mutanola da sene ma bari lata la koy wo nyinin kari fasongolu wolle tarta kumolu kono wolle fango nyin ko be sabu.
Well, it is not a surprise that he was arrested then. All right, please proceed.
So, I mean, they were arrested and charged.
Inata mutale ye tumi.
And the case was assigned to me.
Bitung inata wo kito din telela.
What were they charged with?
Ye mun tumi receive la deng ikang.
I mean, the charges were 4 counts.
Ila tumiro luk mumfe?
Tumiro nani lam?
Tumir nani?
4 counts.
Tumir nani?
So I believe count 1 was.
Mulata la ko tumir following.
Are you reading from a particular document?
Yes,
because I still have the ruling.
Katu hanimbi wo kaitol bembulle.
So you're reading from your ruling at the time?
Munda yeki ye ko nyim kundu nyame han kabi ba wala karanka iba karanka o kaitole bala.
Yes, yes.
Ha.
Please proceed.
Akwetente.
Count 1, conspiracy to commit a misdemeanor.
Tumir follow munyineti wala mnyinti amunta kuke bali keudal.
Contrary to section 369 of the Criminal Procedure Code.
Meya lonko anina fanna kemesaba taworo nin konontun jaw manta nyola na kiti bundala.
Tab 10 voluntary laws of the Gambia.
Meya lonko abe na Gambia la loi buko la bunda tanjaw kono.
And that's 2002.
Tumir fulanjango.
Failure to register a business contrary to section 44 of Single Windows Business Registration Act 2013.
Amunta ka safar bunda asafe balia safar bunda nyanda safe la bari ala safer balia me yalon ko fanang ninna wo banko la loi sarto lu manta nyola.
Country disobedience of statutory duty contrary to section 115 of the Criminal Procedure Code.
Sabanjango wala nyinti kabalang ila luku tamandila anyama me yalon ko fananim bunda keme bunda tang anin sabanjango nyin walita.
And count 4, disobedience of statutory duty contrary to section 155 of the Criminal Code.
Tumirnani njango wal fanamu nyinati ko mela luku tamandi anyama inyanta luku menkela imake anyama me yalon ko fananina ulwa bunda walitale.
Can you repeat count 1 for me without citing the law under which they were charged?
Akoye tumir bunda follow satae satara hani ima afanna nyimfo.
Count 1, conspiracy to commit a misdemeanor.
Wala mnyindi ka kambeng puruka kruya ko tamandi.
That's fine.
Akabete yata.
I hope you'll make these your ruling available to us later on for the benefit of the commissioners.
Na mira inata wo kulu lanya nyimbo kaito nying ibe fere kilale ka futandi manyatonto puru commissioner la jero kama.
Yes.
Ha.
What happened after they were arraigned before your court?
Mule nata kebri nata ululondi nyati lungula kiti bundala.
They were arraigned.
Briye nata ke kitin purke kitindi.
They didn't have lawyers.
Lawyer te ulubulu iman lawyer soto.
So I stood down the case.
Bitum nata kito nyi landi.
For them to go and find lawyers.
Puru nyin kamala isita lawyer lu nyining ifaye wotumo.
Then after I stood down the case.
biringa kito nyi londi wonya prieta loya nyini ngula.
I was in my chambers.
Mbenna office kono.
Then I received a call from the master of the High Court.
Utumole nata kumandiro soto master member High Court ayenkili.
So
who was the master? Sorry, Mr. Conte. Who was the master at that time? Was it still Mr. Buba Jawa?
Akojimale master tinu utumo kiti bunda nyina for Mr. Buba Jawa lem hani bibang.
Yes, it was Mr. Buba Jawa.
Ha, te Mr. Buba Jawa lem.
Thank you. And this is the late Buba Jawa who later became a judge, right?
Ngamera wolem tala Buba Jawa ti menna take kiti ndirlati.
Yes.
Ha.
Okay, please proceed.
Akoitente.
So he was talking to me about bail.
Bitunga be nyine fo kanye nunko bel nyanta kela nyameng.
Man, so I don't understand because I suspected.
Ma fahamu katu anata sobo dundi nsondo mokono.
I don't know why would master call to talk about bail.
Malo muna na master be diamala han fo kata bel kumofo.
So usually the master will not call to talk to a magistrate about bail.
Kadu amandali kila puru master ye magistrate kumandi puru ye diamu bel kuala.
So it was then I sensed that the government, the state, the president had an interest in this matter.
Utumolom sobona ta dun sondo mokono kamira ko woto nyimu kitileti wala nyimu kuleti me yalon ko president amunta ay nyatili nya sotole nyin kitola karola.
Can you tell us what specifically was said about bail by the master?
Foi sa fono nye muna fam for the master men for bail la kuro nyin kisto.
He said that the CJ told him that the bail is at the discretion of the court.
Ate nyina foko utumo CJ nyina fayen ko bel ko wotuta larin kiti bunda nyin nebulu.
But that was something that you already knew. I mean, why would he tell you that?
But it was mu kula de me alan ko ete o lonne. So muna jere la pura te o foe.
Exactly, and I don't even know how the Office of the Chief Justice knew about this case. I know it is the Office of the Chief Justice in suit, but things like that.
Bangalon ko abngolonne bari bitun silang nata mira anya keta nyadi la hanfo Chief Justice la office obina bolanyin kulu kalama abelarin te nyami.
Did you see this as an indirect interference in your duties or perhaps more direct?
Oh, ila mira lo ranyi mu kule de me alon ko dablo la me alon ko imasam be ifang kai fang bari ya samba ni nyala me alon ko dablo la akonyin kon.
More direct, it was more direct because the court knows that the bail is at the discussion of the court, but
Abolem amunta ya tilindi wala nyama ya samba wala nyama kadu ya lonko belko o katar larin kito la nyale bulu kiti bundala.
Did that put you under pressure at all?
For not enable the tola kono bangfo.
Of course, yes, it did because if you call a magistrate and you start to talk about bail, definitely, he would sense that maybe this is just not a normal case.
Keta wala nyama kadu ni ya magistrate kumandi me ya lanka be kiti tamandi kan ekana bel kumo kachawe woto abe nyinjila ko nyimu kuleti me ya lonko da bulole mnyinti te lafta jela nyado nyalama.
So what happened after that?
Munana na ke okola.
So it was then I sensed the government has some interest in this matter.
Otum wala nata nyimira ko otum no na mansa kunda fa hammo be kutole nyin kito kono.
So I had to advise myself.
Ngam fa ya mari.
And considering the fact that
andu ngani njube ko
two of those the three accused persons
nyimmo sabolu menu yetu miteng
were non-Gambian.
Nil dodo manke Gambian kati.
So, I mean, you know, considering bail.
Dunia jube puruka bel ko mira.
There are other factors to consider.
Adun kuko tangulu fanalo bijele nyanta menu jibela si mira menula.
But I believe the two most important are the
Barillata la ko kuma fulo menu be ko nyin kono.
The seriousness of the offense.
Amunta tonyandiro menketa ala sangaro be lari nyadi le.
And if whether the accused persons have 5 weeks.
Fodun ya menu tumitem fana molle men ya lonko ya konyi natot futandile.
And I experienced a situation that happened in the judiciary.
Andu nataje ku mukule me ya lonko aketale na kitindir bunda la judiciary konoje.
A senior magistrate.
Kitindir la nyato ngasotonta.
I believe he heard a case.
Na lonko kule babu lunun kitile belara bulo kono
where the accused person had escaped from the jurisdiction.
Andu moment tumita ye men tumi o kito nyin kono wo mari nata bori ay bankobula.
So the magistrate was
Biton nyim kitindir la nyim memba ko nyin kunna nata silandir kolu sambakan.
Are you in a position to tell us who this particular senior magistrate was?
I don't want to name
names because maybe they might not like me naming the names.
Malla fitolu fala kadro asekeno ko mariolo fa sekela kuti mensi dieye pruntenga na murumbe tolu fala.
And we respect that, but can you provide the name afterwards to us in private?
Thank
you. Please proceed.
So I remember when I was Fatou and me at the principal magistrate.
Yo otumo ntata numba nyunle
would usually call by benefit.
Andu jama magistrate ni ngakatambi ni kanifinna
And to show solidarity to this magistrate because he has been threatened that he must produce the accused person or he would be dealt with.
Puru ka itande nyi magistrate ofana nako mba mbelori nga fele ka fasa katu ye silandir kumo fayan ko nyi memborta teng ay fereke ay amari fintindi.
And so I experienced that. Then I thought to myself,
so tumo le ngamiram fay ko
if these two of these non-Gambians, if they happen to, abstain.
Nata mira ko nyimo fulolu men ya lon ko etelu manke Gambia dingluti ni nyili nata boridum
I could face similar fate.
mfanambe dunna o mantora kilimule kono.
So I reminded them
Moto dalilo le ya sabu nge sambari man
to think over my decisions before I deny or grant bail.
puru nge sambari man puru nyin kamala mbe wato men soto lan simira fodum nsinyi bel kango di nyili labang fodum kana so.
So what did you end up doing?
Then I decided that I was not going to deny them bail.
Yo otumo le nata mira konko oto nyili manyane balila purke bel.
But the bail would be in such a condition that they would be reasonable, that they would stand trial, and at the end of the trial, there's no case, let them go.
Yo bitu nata fuko mbebel façon men dilela abekela nyale manyame ya lonko ibe tentena le purka lo kito nyati limula isaje nin kito nyin keta hanfo anata bang utumolem nsina feroji be nin ye fansoto nse bula.
And then I granted them bail.
Utumolem munata bail dealer.
I mean, he was in the amount of 5 million.
Andu ngakango mele kam bail sanko nyin dalasi million lulu.
And there was a lot of, talk about that.
Andu amunta diamolu wulindi nunduma.
What kind of talk was there about it?
In social media and in other media.
Amunta na nying dunia be kibar bunda nyi kafame social media nin kibar bunda kote ngolo wolle be kumakal nu.
And probably they believe he was excessive.
Amunta ite lata nyi na kongawo kodo yiriko men lawe kang asia batale.
Were you under some pressure to increase the amount of the bail?
Silang foi be detole kono no bang puru ka foi ko puru bail sartoni ye sankaya membe sankaya la sartoni puru ka lafa.
Or did you feel the conditions you set were reasonable under the circumstances?
Waranda foi ya jele ko bail sartoni ye menu landi sartal me alon ko e sone ya da bakare.
Yeah, my reasoning was 2 of them were non-Gambians.
Ha ntela dalilo munyineti nunko. Mo fulo nyingol manke Gambia dingoluti.
And if all I wanted was them to stand trial.
Anu ntela tanu membela nu wala na yelo kito nyati lingula.
But if they escape,
Bar ni nataka na iborta.
then that was going to be another issue for me, and we have to be subject to some other things there. So I wanted them to stand trial, and I believe the amount, it may be excessive to some people, but to me, it was kind of reasonable.
Awdalilo le asabu bidu ngaji benko ha nyilu nyanta fero kila leke ila ko kiti kato ninge bula luntangolu nyilu asekeno wolieta.
But it looks like apart from the normal considerations that you would sort of weigh, the normal principles under the law, you had other principles that you were also looking into, such as your safety, considering the experience you had with that senior magistrate.
Ebe ya pesa ya jube ebe ila saka sarrol men dilal nu ni ya jube ya pesa han kabi hakilo fanan tu ko male puri fanan katanko ani misalo men dija wala ila nyaton ko kirin tela nyaton ko do me alon ko adunta akoleya ko kono me alon ko ani la nyibe mulundala ibe ol bera ko nyi ibe jube kan ya pesa ya jube fond.
Exactly, because if I didn't receive that call from the master and kind of put pressure on me, I don't think I would have granted bail in such a manner.
Ha ngamira na atar numbang mang kumandiro sunun kabo mastabulo. Anim fanang amunta imang ida bula kunun ko nyin kono. Bitum ko lu bekta mala nu nyamin wala nyinti dalilo wala dalilo dinna han fonnata feroke ngata manditen nata nyim bel dila.
And thank you so much for admitting that, because definitely there seem to have been some other extraneous influences on that particular decision apart from the law, and I can understand the position that you were in.
Enum baraba kelo senen ro ngaw faham le nga jela ko o fanna dol be e fanna men vojanteng wato dingira dol be je katara jele me alon ko de to katara jele bari comme ite alandi nyamen den ngenum baraba kelo senen ro tan yala nyamen fana.
But in fact, after you went all through that, these two foreigners did not in fact stand trial, did they?
But han kabi taro han kabi yo we of simfa dame beta teng nying luntam flor nying manana lo kitio nyade non fo ilodal.
But to my surprise,
aketanye teren kwoti
their lawyer came to me after it was a day or two.
Ila lawyer natante kang birin tilikilin wala tilifula tambita.
And told me that the two accused persons wanted to change their plea.
Wala mnyindi ko nyimo fulo lumenu ye tumiteng amunta itelila ila lodu la ila ftafalin na ila kangonyi.
change the plea from not guilty to guilty.
wala nyindi be falina le kafoko luwa man tolmuta be sonnale silanko ha tonya e sontale ko luwa yam mutale.
So when they were initially arraigned, they pleaded not guilty, and 2 days after they changed their plea from not guilty to guilty.
Amunda lum folo men na yena ti londe kiti o nyati no le men fo e men jabi kiti o wala nyindi go to man son tumiro le men le kan bar tilif kilin tilifula ko la law lum folo nyi na na sa murna ko silang e be la lord la nyi falina le ka fo ko sai ison ta tumiro nyi na e men de kan oda.
Yes.
Ha.
What happened? Did you convict and sentence them accordingly?
Muna nata nake fo itafana nata na luwa tamandi kande bang inata ne busa yaro la bang ko luwa ya landi nyame.
So I was shocked because my mind was, I was just gonna let him stand trial. At the end of the trial, they could prove their case and let him go, but they changed their plea.
Ntalafta kito tamandela nunya wale nyama barbitum ko kunyi nata kenya menteng inata wulinang pour que la kango falen ka foko follow to lota ko itelu mansong barbitum nyin labang la nata lo ka foko ha sa yi sontale.
So I couldn't do much because I was not really happy with it, but as a judge, as a judicial officer, you have to be independent and
bitu wotumo biro ketalom man ku jama soto mbeben tamandile je wairi ntebu do kulaleti luani ntilimo do ko bundala fereti je man ku jama soto mbeben tamandile je.
Then I convicted them.
Udalilo le asabu nge kitindi nga luaye muta
And find them.
Nga alamano le kang.
I believe it was 50,000 on each count.
Ngamira nimanyina momondi kungo kundalas wuli talulu iteli nyanta wale jola alamano
$15,000
wuli tang ani lulu every count ka amunta tumiri nyanta wale jola.
Yeah, and then they paid and then they left the jurisdiction.
Inata song ye joro ke biri ye joro ke drong utumole bota jangitata.
And again, just juxtaposing that against the bail amount, just highlighting against that the bail conditions were obviously very stringent, because in the end you just find them something less than $100,000.
Munda nyala bo nyi hani kabiri ya jube inata na alamano mel lekang ani ye bel ro ben dira yemen sang bel mel dila nu e ko do mel lande je ko membe momo be bel membe sankara be men jola adoyata wotila me ye natani alamano da menna adoyata la bi anim bel nyinna ido adoyata wala e bawe dumal.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. So what happened to Seth Matijau?
Silang Seth Matijau dum muna natana ke atela.
So Seth maintained his plea. Not guilty.
Mba munta Seth ate mwole mnyindi ko lua manate muta.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
He said he's not guilty.
Akate akaulua mate muta amansong.
And what happened?
So it went on trial.
So kuonyi nata dunkito kono utumole.
Who was representing the accused persons?
Yintumi monyi jumala be lore ngate loyala.
There is, at first, I believe it was Ida Drame who was representing them. Counsel Ida Drame.
Ngamira Ida Drame. Wale mu kitindirlati mellota itolienu wotembo.
Then I did change counsel, and it was Lamin Kamara for Seth Matijau.
Bitungutumo Seth Matijau menata lo wale keta Lamin Kamarati.
What about the state?
Bankola karola du jumala beloni bankoe.
The state, the prosecutor was Abdurrahman Ba at that time.
Wotembo mellota man sakunda wotembo wale Abdurrahman Ba.
And he was from the state law office.
And abura mansala kitiri bunda office wa nyina.
Attorney General's chambers, rather.
Yes, but later on, I think he also withdrew, and it was Bakar Drame.
Ya ngala keta wala nyama bari ko nyim nata me fam nata falling wala bangola Boubacar Drame wala nata loy.
Mr. Conte, I would just like to just pause for a moment whilst I confer with Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it's time for the break, but we have about 30 minutes or so to go. If you would prefer us to continue and finish with him and then go on a break, or to take a break and then come back.
Well, considering that it's been up very early in the morning, can you shorten 30 minutes to 15 minutes and we finish up with him? If we can do that, that would be great, rather than
I will try. I'm not too sure if I can make such a promise, but I will try to shorten it.
Please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Conte?
Sedo.
Yes, Councillor.
I'm sure you've heard what the chairman has said, so take that into consideration as we proceed.
Okay.
All right, so just summarize the case for us so that we can get somewhere. What happened to Said Mati eventually in the trial?
Nyala ba nying nyin Said Mati ala kitio nying kono muna na kala.
So the prosecution, they call their witnesses and then close their case.
Kitindrilalu wala lata ila sedo lukumandi brio lukumandi fol nata utumole nata ila kito kumfa.
Then his lawyer, LS Camara,
ala lawyer LS Camara
apply for notice to answer.
ay nyine safe ko woto atela kiliano wo man kiti soto anyante dankula menna.
Please tell us what that means, especially for the benefit of our lay people.
Akataba yo fatang fansinya bang purun na mol la moir la melan ko mang faham o koto munedi wala ala lawyer dundiro kula safer la ka me no case to answer wala mang kuma sota be men dankula menna kitior.
So no case, I mean, simply means
well,
the prosecution close their case.
No case wala mnyindiko bitun kitindri bunda nying wala nyante la kito kumfala woldo katu wala mnyindiko etumi monying woto kitirma kuta caring men nyanta lala te kanga munta kititate kunto.
If there's no evidence that the court can convict,
ni sede man soto sede koyo men sa itande ko nyim tumi mo nyanta mutala nyine kam pour ka sorong.
That around the defense to open their defense and contradict the evidence.
Ibajala utumole ni oketa bitum menu belorin kitindirla menu belorin tumi moye utumole ngol fanalu bina ila kudia mo wulindi la pour ka tumi mo nyin na kolu fasa ka itande ko nyin amunta be tembo men to teng atemang lua la sembetelari ngakanga mang kuke.
So the prosecution basically, sorry, go ahead.
Then it would mean there's no prima facie case, like no strong evidence against the accused person.
But new sede a mankita woto wala mnyinti ko belola nyine kanko sede bambandi mansoton no nyin tumi mola koluto.
So therefore the prosecution did not meet the minimum threshold of evidence they were supposed to produce.
Amunta koto munyine de wala mnyindi ko kitindirla me yalon ko wolle nyin tumi mo nyin na de kitidula to ka tumi ko tumi rol nyin imam kuma kam bambandi ngol soto me yalon ko wala fo nyin tumi mo nyin memba sabula furluwa sa muta.
Yeah, that would warrant the defense to enter their defense.
Wala mkuti memba sabula pour men be lori tumi mo nyiye wul fanalisi wuli yela kuma wulindi pour itelinyanta nyimari tankandila nyami.
So based on that no case submission, I mean what ruling did you make?
Kasujini wala kabring tumi mo nyin na lawyer nyi ayo kuma ka nyin dundi wala no case submission itna na ko nyin kundunyadi le.
So if there's no case, I mean acquit and discharge.
Wala mnyindiko ni bitum kiti mansoto menyanta kela pour ka kula nyinka woto kito nyi utumo le ngabai.
So you agreed with the submission that was made by the defense counsel and you acquitted and discharged them because the prosecution basically did not produce enough evidence to warrant a defense to those charges.
Amunta tumi moni na lawyer nyinga safero men dundi kitio nyin kono ina ta ifana nata na so kuma ka nyinne ka wala nyindi ko tumi moni menu ya nata tumi menu ya nata kitio nyati no memu bankola karola multi e man kuma kan sahayare ngodi kitio nyati no memba sabula ko kuma sa muta no ko to nyato nyin tumi moni ya tumi menna asabati ta kanne ifana nata na sabati wala yabula iko luwa ma muta no kitio fana yabula.
Yes.
Ha.
So Said Matija was a free man.
Said Matija narna ke mori mi alanko aba fambulu.
Yeah, he was a free man.
Ha, bitungo tembolem anata fansoto yabula, kito yabula.
And according to your statement, all hell broke loose from that point.
Amunta ila kuma kan safero nyindo yeme itandi je wala mindu ko nyimbe nata na katinya.
I am paraphrasing.
Yes.
Okay, can you tell us what happened after you gave that verdict?
Silang faisa fono nye muna natana ke brite ko nyum kuntu wanyama.
Considering the political nature of the case, and the fact that the state had an interest in it.
Andung kome hani ya jube fanang set matjaw la law kitio nying mansakunda ya sulo soro nying sulo soro anum politiko alhalo nying fana belari nu nyamen muna natana.
So I believe I delivered the on Wednesday, April 29th.
Na miranga kulu ke wolungole April karotili muani kononto kakito kundu.
And after that, I was expecting something was going to happen.
Biro batala ndefama be sobirinko kube kelale.
Why were you expecting that something would happen?
Mune ya sabu ndefama sobirako kube kelale.
Because it was obvious that the state, the government, the executive had an interest in the matter.
Kadro tumo ndebe sobirinko mansakunda nyin kata na nyatonko banko kundonko ulube kusotole laftamenta mandila kito nyinto.
But despite your fears, you still went ahead and did the right thing.
Bari hanin kabi nyao nyara ndi nyama ila silo ko nyin kono nyao nya baina na kuke me alon ko nyanta wala nyama.
Yes.
Walem.
I don't think Said Madi deserves that. He doesn't deserve to be destroyed like that.
Ma amira kwa abekela kuleti menyanta purka Said Mati la kulu tinyanyi wonya bitu dalilo le ya sabu mfana ngata mandi wonyama puru nyin kamala kakanta katanka ndio manto Roma.
Even at the risk of reprisals to yourself.
Anin kabi hani wonyao nyara nyama masilango be ka nyao nya ya kundu wonyama.
Yes, I knew maybe the worst I would get is to be fired. So I prefer to be fired than destroy a young man.
Ha, ndafana ngajele ko. Ningata mandi wonya. Ko si kuja wo membe kelantela dron wole yembaidu kola. Bari ndafana wole fisi atanye yembaidu kola wole fisi atanye. Nga funding kedo jube nga tinya.
That was quite commendable. I mean, seeing as you were also a young man with a future ahead of you, which you were willing to sacrifice for the rights of others.
Tenturubala ikang hani ya jube te fana molde me alon ko funding ke mera wala muiti bar hani kabi wonya ya duno nyimbeta ya woku beje ya taki ya duno nyinta.
Exactly, because he should be protected.
Ha, ayanta kala wala nyama, mnyanta kantalale, ayanta kanto sotonale.
So what happened after that?
So on Monday, I went to work.
Between 10 and Lungon Tata Dokola.
I was in court.
Mbekiti Bundala.
Then my orderly came.
Mo utumolo na orderly na dokula menkatarambala anata.
And told me that the principal magistrates wanted to see me urgently.
Afanyon ko magistrate keba nying o laftan jelale jer saharingula.
Then I went to see him.
Ntataje.
Who was he?
Atala mununjumati o magistrate keba nying.
He's Mamadou SN Jallo. He's not a high court judge.
Mamadou SN Jallo sain high court kiti ndirlale mwati wala muna kiti sandonga bunda nyinti.
Please proceed.
And then
He He's told me that the Chief Justice sent an urgent message
ay ñina fañan ko Chief Justice ye kibar kandile kinang
that I should go home immediately
konte nga sign wono to nga say
because he received the order that from the president, that's Yaya Jammeh.
Kato ate fana yo kango soto mole bulume ya lon ko wole banko president Yaya Jammeh
That I should be dismissed.
ko nyanta mbayla le.
Mr. Conte, before we move on, did Yaya Jammeh appoint you?
Mr. Conte, be musedo de janni betente na fo Yaya Jammeh atele to tombo mang do ko nyito.
No, Yaya Jammeh didn't appoint me.
Anide Yaya Jammeh manteta do ko la.
So how come he was dismissing you?
To saying abe keno na nyadi la tebe bayla.
That was the order given to the Chief Justice.
Kango le nyintime ya longo Chief Justice. Ole yo kango dintela.
Okay, very well. I believe somebody did not advise him that he did not have the authority to do so. Who was the Attorney General at the time?
Jumala munu minister member ne lual ne kitindir kunyala o jamano la.
It was Mama Fatima Singate.
Ikafo Mariole Mama Fatima Singate.
Okay, please go ahead.
Then that I felt threatened.
Aketanya kutime ya longa aketa silandir quality.
I packed my bag
Nga nafengolo kafunyoma.
without telling anyone anything.
Mam fem fo moye mam kuma moye.
I boarded a taxi and went home.
Mbulata taxi okono otembole insaita suokono.
I had to change my location.
Oyo aluwo ya sabule ntara dula fa nga falin.
I mean, so I was there. It was on the May 4th, then till on the 12th May.
Ya betumo tumo kabrim mekaro til nani fo mekaro til tanim fulo.
Okay, I have to, because I believe the Chief Justice. I mean, he said.
Mulata nyina ko to Chief Justice atakata moleti meyen tefanan kanandi.
And I'm so grateful for that.
Andu wakatanya kutin sewo tala kola wo karola back.
Why do you believe? Why do you believe he saved you?
Mane asa wita lara ko Chief Justice nying ayetan kandile.
Because the moment he knew about it,
Katu wato menga botakalama.
he sent a message immediately.
Ay kibaru kinta kanna otumole tarinke.
And you know, initially you told us that the worst that could have happened to you was that you would be dismissed, and you were not really scared of that.
Ariyalan koma do yafa mole no jango ku jaw membe kelela ni ko nyingo no wala nyindi ko ni bay andu imansi o mesula fa imansi la wala.
However, when you got a message from the Chief Justice saying that Yaya Jammeh was going to dismiss you, or he had an order for Yaya Jammeh for your dismissal from Yaya Jammeh, things changed.
Anin kabi o nyaaw nyara ni nyaawa o kuma kan kilo ngai na kabirina na kibaro surat Chief Justice nyimbulo ko Yaya Jammeh ko buru ye bay.
You were now afraid not only of being dismissed but for your own personal safety. Can you tell us why?
Imanna mda woro ron bayro nyinna ko nyindo bari inata na sila la fanam sayang muna na mune silanda ko nyin kono.
Yes, because the order was from Yaya Jammeh, and you know, Yaya Jammeh, after long, if he's angry with you, then anything could happen to you.
Odumo ngalon ko Yaya Jammeh na kamfatale adu nata atamu moli na kamfate kamma. Bituode kokundi sikeno ite marilal.
When Yaya Jammeh is angry with you, anything can happen to you.
Yaya Jammeh kamfata momo ninga ko kusikera keno ilale.
Things like what?
Membe ko nyumu.
You could be arrested. You could be killed.
Isi mutano andu mfang isi fano.
You could be in prison.
Isi soronno.
And that is why you went into hiding.
Amunda wale azabu itara mabo.
Because you were genuinely scared for your life.
Kadu isila da ila fangola tangola la ila baluo.
Yeah.
So what happened after that?
Mune na ke okola.
So because the Chief Justice refused to give me my termination letter.
Chief Justice ni balantala pour kanna letter by letter o nyindina.
So it was May 12th. I learned that he too was fired.
Me karo tiltan nim fulolo nata nyim fanam fahamu ko yate fanam bayle.
And that was the day my termination letter was written.
Yo bito lungole fanamu yente na bayri letter o nyim fanan safeta kafutamma.
Do you know the reasons behind the dismissal of the Chief Justice?
Ya na dalilo membe dalil ku membe alon ko be maboring waranto membe fuduring dalilo me asabu Chief Justice ni ya bay.
I mean, it might be my case. It might be. I've heard things like it was about the case of Lam Tombantamba, but at that time I was not really. No, I couldn't say specifically that was the reason, but I knew for a fact that he refused to give me my termination.
Ha, ase keno kudol bijele ko kol men be ko Lam Tombantamba la ko bar bitung même ko tinata sobe melna wala nyinti ronga manna song pour kantela bayri letter o dintela.
And even though you didn't know the specific circumstances surrounding his dismissal, you knew that it had to do with a case that he was presiding on, something that had to do with his independence as a judge.
Ani ngabi onya kile onya randi nyama iko imalo dalilo me asabu ya be membe asabu ya be bari iso bida nyinne ko dalilo me asabu ya be wala nyindi ko sujiri ndin case le me alon ko ayata aya kiti andun ayo ke kula me nyala me alon ko kulwa landi wala nyama ko ala do ko nyinya na kena do ku nyalde me alon ko betar le lorin afaye.
Yes, I believe he was dismissed because of as a result of interference because of a case, a particular case.
Ha ngalo ya bay dalilo men kan wala nyinti ko dablo keta kiti mento me ya lon ko lebe keri no tembo.
And I believe this point is buttressed after he was dismissed because the person that they brought to replace him was the exact opposite of what he was according to the evidence which we have received. And who was that person?
Yes, that person was Emmanuel Fagbele.
Ha, Omari me ya nati atela palaso to ka fole Emmanuel Fagbenle.
I believe the very day Fagbele took over.
Lata la ko lumme mfango Fagbenle ko luta.
That was the very day my termination letter was written.
Wolum kilingo le famo yentela bayr letter o safe.
And of course, sorry, I was just going to say, and of course he came to purge the judiciary of everybody who was an independent judge or magistrate.
Amunta silang wotumo lem yenyin silota purka molu ba momondi ninkitindirla lo meya lonko amari la kito alota fayena tarta fambulu purka tonya tamandi.
If you don't agree, Mr. Conte, by all means say so, please.
Ni man som fana Mr. Conte hanim be afudro.
I agree. I agree totally.
Nsontale fang kendake.
Because maybe he might have started with me. So, and I've learned.
Ha, ne ajube kolu la nya follow tante fangol. Wala, bitu wala na katu ndela bayir letero waira amadina anu fo kol na taketen. La tala ko aketa wole nyama.
Please repeat the last part of your answer. I did not get that.
Akoy la jabiro labango amawoto soto saije kan.
Yeah, because after my case, a lot of other magistrates and judges were dismissed.
Ha, ndela ko bori mala. Magistrate ni jojo lu jamal le soto ntay labanta menu fanalu bayla.
Can you give just some examples of such magistrates and judges and why they were dismissed? Did it have anything to do with their role?
For esis misali ngolo dino nale wo magistrate ni o jojolu fodun kule men tata dending la kitolu te nyala bang.
Magistrate Ibrahim Jete, I believe he is now a judge.
Justice Magistrate Ibrahim Jaite sa in Jojo le mwati kitindir lale mu.
Was he dismissed because of a decision that he made?
Oh ya bay dalilo men kan wala nyindi ko ay kan wala tabang.
Yes, yes.
Ah.
Who else?
Aninjuma.
And I believe Magistrate Omar Jalo was also dismissed.
Andullah tala ko Justice Magistrate Omar Jalo fanang.
Omar Jabang.
Omar Jabang fana ya bay wonyale.
And was that because of a decision that he had made during the course of his duties?
Amunda da fana ya bay dalilo men kan wala nyindi ko ala du ko nyi waro nyi kono ay kiti la kundu ni nyala me alon ko amandi e tole.
Yes.
Ah.
Do you remember Patrick Gomez, who testified here a couple of days ago? Do you remember the circumstances surrounding his dismissal?
Mola me alon ka sedan do DJ ka me Patrick Gomez tildan ko man don fa yalo na dalilo men sababu da fana na bayro la ba.
Yeah, I knew Patrick, but at that time I was not at his judiciary. But I've heard that he also had issues with Fagbele.
Ha, banga Patrick lonne, bari bitunga tala ko be kala tumo men wa yatra mantara judiciary kiti bunda nyinna. Bari nata nyin lonko fanang ate fanan nim Fagbele ko le du nyotema.
Do you know whether he was dismissed because of his decision as a magistrate?
Yala na ban fo ya da fana bay dalilo men kam wala nyindi ko ay kango men tamandi wato men na munu kiti ndir lati ba.
I believe so, yeah.
Ah, lata wala la de.
Do you have any other examples of people who were dismissed because they did the right thing, made a decision during the course of their judicial functions?
Misalo do sotole ba mo do kotangol sotole ba men yalon ko ila mira lo yol fana bay kulla me yalon ko be sujiri ni ila do kulla menke wato men munu kiti ndir lal kiti telal.
Yeah, Jete, Omar Java, Patrick, Chief Justice Chauhan, and later on, these two judges of the Supreme Court, Justice Jane and Justice Sok, were also removed.
Wala Justice Jane nyolu kata Justice Sok ngamera o dalila kilmule fana ya asabu kan fo inata ulu fana lube bondi.
Okay, thank you.
And Magistrate Jacqueline Nixon Hakim too.
Ani Magistrate Hakim yolbe bondi o nyalema.
Okay, and where was Magistrate Hakim presiding over, in which court?
Magistrate Hakim atabe no kiti bunda bunjumal to no data kiti o kala kanda men don.
She was a Banjul.
Ngamera utuma be Banjul lenu.
Do you know whether she was dismissed or she resigned?
Yala na banfo ya baile
judicial interference.
Yala na banfo ya baile banfo ata fangole fonyo banka ko suji ni nkula me alon ko dabulo le menka kala kiti o nya tamandiri nyala.
I believe, me and her, we are dismissed on the same day.
Mlata lako.
Official level.
Ntenate ben na kolu muliata nyakilu nyalema men denta letoro la me yalon ko asafeta.
Thank you very much for that. You wanted to also give another example of interference. Coming from another source apart from the office of the Chief Justice. Sorry, not the office of the Chief Justice, but the executive. Which other source is that?
Yes. I believe, and I have information that the Attorney General at that time, Mama Fatima Sinate, influenced the decision to get me dismissed.
Nalatala alunata nyin kibaro fanan sotonko Mama Fatima Singate atelo moti men ya lonko adabulo ke kuonyin to purka jako furu isente bay.
Can you tell us how she did this or what your belief is?
Isa fono nyi ayin keno nyaale le warando muna muite le lannode mune landi ko ayin kele.
First, she was the Attorney General.
Follow atelom nung Attorney General.
Her role was to advise the government, the president.
Andung jama atelom ya marlati mansakunda la karola kafo katafo president.
So by law, I don't think the president would dismiss other magistrate or judge without the knowledge of Attorney General.
Utolata la ko president jojo wala magistrate o baila satara ate mambo akalama.
Do you believe that the president would have listened to her if she had given him advice that he didn't want to hear?
For ila mira loro ko ning atra yamaro di president wala for president be kala multi me alon ko abe sonna la yamaro la bang ay men diala bang fata kala.
Yes, because I'll give you an instance, like the case of Jacqueline's case.
Ha, abasa ke wonyale mbe misali do fanandile la membe ko Jacqueline la case.
I believe she presided over one of the political cases.
Mlata la ko asita politique kiti ole fanandolu kono kilinkunna.
She freed the accused persons.
Wo menu ye menu tumi okuo kono anata wolu bula ke frita itata.
But she was not dismissed immediately.
But imata by noto de.
And at that point, who was the Attorney General when she ruled or made a decision on those cases?
Attorney Jacqueline biling abe kango kundula nunga taman lanu yimol la koto yim political mol la koto jumala munu Attorney General di minister di.
I believe the Attorney General was Justice Mahoney.
Mlata la ko tumo Attorney General Justice Mahoney leti otumo.
And why do you believe she was not dismissed at that time when Justice Mahoney was the acting AG?
Na sabite la mira loro imaba yo watu la tumala men Justice Mahoney la munu Attorney General me alon ka be karfaring ate la manu watu.
I believe that was his position, acting Attorney General.
Njikira ngunde abe karfaring ala manu ka me acting.
Yes, to me that proves that if the Attorney General does not influence, the president have little, room or even the courage to, fire a magistrate.
So, ngalon ko Chief Justice natara atemang akonyin fasanu. Woto ngani mira ko tumandolu president fon ate kidila purkalo ka foko ye nyim bayro ke onyama.
And what about Justice Mahoney made you believe that he did not influence the president in that manner?
Amonda Justice Mahoney mune landi nyina ko atemang song o kango nyina ka tamandi anyama.
Apart from the fact that she wasn't dismissed, obviously, at that time.
Ninga boda nyina ko ila lara mena ko imabai wo watola.
I believe, Justice Mahoney is an independent-minded person.
Leta la ko Justice Mahoney mumoleti meya fansoto ondung aka lo afangola kangole kang.
Believe that he.
So I don't believe he would try to influence or make the president to do that.
Malala te bela fela purka nyin kangodi wala purka ka president nyanyi ni purka okufa songo lutamani.
And why do you think that Mama Fatima Singate, on the other hand, would do something like that?
Sila muna ya sabu ite lara nyina ko Mama Fatima Singate nya karadola niya jube atabo kulan la wale nyama.
If you look at the tenor of Mama Fatima Singate,
ni Mama Fatima Singate la wucheo jibe wucheo menga be mararo la odinkirato.
So many magistrates and judges were removed.
George Jama ani magistrate Jama nyinkitindiralu Jama le sotonta kono e menu bondi.
I believe the former Chief Justice Mabel Ajima was removed when Mama Singate was Attorney General.
Lata la ko Ajeman Chief Justice ni ya bondi wato meng ate Mama Fatima Singate ate long Attorney General ti otumo.
Justice Chauhan too was removed when Mama Singate was Attorney General.
Justice Chauhan fana ya bay wato men wayata ate Mama Fatima Singate long Attorney General ti.
Justice Raymond Sok and Justice Janet were both removed when Mama Fatima Singate was Attorney General.
Justice Sok ani Justice Flanja o ma afu ulufanalu yebe bay wati kilingole wato men Mama Fatima Singate bije.
We're losing you a little bit, Mr. Conte. Just speak more clearly and audibly.
Justice Jane and Justice Sok, two justices of the Supreme Court, were removed when Mama Fatima Singata was.
Justice Sok and Justice Jane, Supreme Court Judge Fula. Yol funal bayo ate wato la wato me Mama Fatima Singata be Attorney General yala.
And you don't believe that it was a coincidence that it was during her tenure that these particular people were removed?
Andu malala ya mutako asikeko ko le benta dorong wato men ye nyilu bondi je wonatela wato benta.
All this cannot be coincidence. Look in the order of the tenure of other Attorney General, for instance, Justice Mahon. I'm not aware of any single dismissal during his tenure.
Justice Mahon la wuce okono. Mambo akala mahani sinya killing kafo wodoku lalu killing by kitindir lalu. Barni ajibe nyimbete keno la kafo ko ibentale. Hani katu atela wuce waralo atela maralo wuce okono lem nyi kitindir lalu mo jama soton tay menu bondi.
And Justice Fagbenle, do you know where he was before he became Chief Justice? Do you know what he was doing?
Justice Fagbenle, yala na benu mindo la janni bagira Chief Justice.
Justice Fagbele, he was at the Court of Appeal.
Justice Fagbenle abenun kiti sa inkambunda lanum.
And before that?
No.
I believe he worked as a prosecutor before he was appointed a judge.
Namira kitindrilale munu janningi ba kala kiti telatinu.
He was the DPP, the Director of Public Prosecutions.
Antala munu kitindrilale bela nyaton ko de kafme DPP o watola.
Do you know whether he worked during the time that Mama Fatima Singate was the Attorney General at the Ministry of Justice?
Yala na fo wato men Mama Fatima Singate munu minister member ni lual ni kitindri kunyala fo abe atenying DPA Fagbele abenu do gola jeda ba.
I mean, you mean he whether in Fagbele worked with Mama Singata?
Yes, at the Attorney General's chambers. Because
Yes.
both of them were in that department.
Yes, yes.
Akita bunyan.
Are you able to draw a link between those two events?
After isi chokinyolo sabatino ku fulol tema le bang. Bara ku fulol men keta bang.
Considering the fact that Justice Fagbenle was at the ministry, was at the chief office of the Chief Justice in the judiciary at the same time when Mama Fatima Singate was the Attorney General.
Ni ajibe Fagbele abenu Chief Justice la office onyinto waro mena Mama Fatima Singate abenu minister la member dual ni kitindri kunyala o
And their history at the Attorney General's chambers.
andong tare golle mi anon ko wolle keta ministry me marle dual ni kitindri kunyala ko men tambira je.
Yes, and I personally knew that when Fagbele was acting Chief Justice, Mama Singate would come to his office, the office of the Chief Justice.
Latala wato men Fagbenle be palace nyaton kaya Chief Justice. Mama Fatima Singate kata ala office otole kata futa maje.
So there was a relationship between the two.
Munda hadamaya be nyinu wo fulol tema le.
And where did you get this information from?
Yen kibaro soto min dole.
I believe the day Chief Justice, was it the day or the following day when Chief Justice Mabel Ajiman was removed?
Ngamira trikiling wala samu bring Justice Ajayman Bondi.
And at that time Fagbele was the acting.
Potembo palaso nyimbe karafarim Fagbenle lema.
Mama Singate came to his office.
Mama Fatima Singate na atala office oto.
I went there to see Chief Justice. So the day I saw them, my own eyes.
Woluna nte fanan kundingu tata jele purka Chief Justice je. Ntata beng wole feje nte fangale nyaye mo fulolu je.
Do you know under what circumstances you saw them fraternizing with each other?
Yala na bang yetara alhala nyadi la kono memba sabula yetara alhala nyadi la kono bungonyi kono je brief rata je office kono.
Well, I believe they had some relationship with cordial and. I don't think it would be proper for the Attorney General to just. It depends too, but taking into account the circumstances.
It wasn't an official function. That's what you want to say. It wasn't an official function. They were just together on a very in an informal setting.
Amunta ngeje nyokan nedrong o dalilo le ya sabu barbitum nyale fangaye mo fulolu je nyokan andu ngalon ko e ka nyomoyle bitum ila taranyo ila do ko sambanya obe dam mangol tem.
Yes, it wasn't formal. It wasn't formal.
Ila nyoje o amanke ko nyinti ko do ko le ya kanin wala dalila ko yole bala luwa ya kanin.
Thank you very much for that.
Numbara ba ke la o senandiro.
Also, you've told us that there were some letters that came from or emanated from the executive.
Yannu ya fa mole fa nan janko letaro dol be jemi alango bota executive wala ya jamena la bala mol de be kataringala.
To be more specific, the office of the president.
Ka sabatin ka tiling ko nyim fanga wala president office or letaro men boraje.
To the judiciary or to the courts. Can you tell us more about that?
Letaro men yalango ke safena ka president office or ke kiti bundaro.
Yeah, at that time I witnessed 2 occasions.
Ha, utembo ndefo nata okuo sedea fosi nyafula fang.
Letters would come from the office of the president.
Letterol kabonam president la office auto.
The judiciary to the office of the chief justice.
Letterol kana kitindir bundala kata chief justice la office auto.
And to the courts.
Kata kitindir dinkiraluto.
I mean, the directing that
kanyin kangodi ko
certain cases and they will list the name of the cases.
Kitul façon lu men yalon ko etel hammo wala nyaabe lori menu kan igaw kitolu fanglu be safele.
Dispose of within a certain period of time or else the language like that.
Ka fo nyin kiti kari iba kala tenne nyin wuce kari kono nionte nyin ninyi ne be kala wo kuma kam façon lu.
Yeah, I personally saw those letters.
Ndefongo kuma yo letterol dolu jele.
And the principal magistrate at that time.
Mutumo magistrate yala utembo.
Who is the current attorney general? He would call a meeting.
Mutumo member chief magistrate yala utuma se bengo kumandi.
Was that Dauda Jallo you said? He was the principal magistrate at the time, the attorney general, the present attorney general now.
Olem Dauda Jallo ti mem principal magistrate a telephone mu attorney general ti say.
Yeah, I mean, so he would call a meeting for us to discuss.
Asi bengo kumandi pour ka si kanyin kolu diam.
And although you didn't mention him, but I believe he was dismissed at some point as well because of a decision that he made during the course of his duties as a magistrate.
Imare to fono ndem wala me alongo ye bay do sujuda menna wala nyindi ko ye kanwala ta ila do ko nyin kono bara dafa nan jigita ko ya dafa nan bay dalilo men kam wala nyindi ko ay kanwala ta ala kitiyo nyi wicho nyi kono kitiyo kundu ni nyaado la me alongo amandia e tole ya bay wala la.
Yes, he was also dismissed because of a case.
Ha yate fanam bay wo dalilo le kan kato ay kitile te nyama memman dolu nyabo.
And I believe the police or the NIA they came to the office.
Ngalon ko lata ko police wala NIA wul fonglu na telefo kana futa office to je.
And they asked him to surrender his passport.
Ina ta fay jele ko ala passport o aya dila.
Then the Chief Justice, when the Chief Justice knew about this,
Bring Chief Justice Botawo Kalama.
Who was that?
He protested. He said that
Atela mjumate no Chief Justice.
was Justice Chohan.
Mutumo Justice Chohan lemu birabota Kalama ala balambaya yitandi.
he protested that he was not going to court unless they let him.
Kamfata la balambaya itandikati ta kito bundala hanfode funi ye bulobo kang.
So he stood up for your worship, Dauda Jallow, at the time.
Amunda lota Dauda your worship Dauda Jallow fe o watola.
I believe he did, yeah.
Allah ta'ala ko ayoleke.
Okay, thank you very much.
Numbarabaga.
Can you just tell us briefly what impact your dismissal from the judiciary, as well as all the experience you've had on the intimidation, harassment, and interferences with magistrate and judges?
Fesa fono nyin kol be narna mon kole akule zabu e bayila bayro nyin aning e dabulo men ka gela kidio nyin tamandir nyaaro aning e ka kuma kawol men fo e kidio nyin wicho nyin kona mun ka kole akule zabu ma.
And what impact has this had on you?
Jojol ni magistrate ol menu be ye bay anu ayam kole akule zabu ma.
Well, I mean, it's apart from the psychologically, maybe it's kind of stressful.
Ni mirala sondomola karola akake mariye de unquality.
And also career-wise too.
Andung ila do ko nyim fanan tamandola karola akake nasidality.
And so for me too, I mean, when I was dismissed, because I was offered scholarship by Jam.
Ndefanan dum bring ye mbay aketa wala nyama badum ya jame fon scholarship dintalale.
But I mean that scholarship was revoked.
But was scholarship in ato baile.
So but
why was the scholarship revoked, Mr. Conte? I know this is an obvious question.
Mana sabu scholarship nyin ya bay.
He was not your kind of magistrate. Or you were not his kind of magistrate, rather.
Ita mangala nyar kiti kutula de mialon ko imara multi.
Yeah, because I thought he said that maybe no, you don't deserve it. So
ngamira kitawale nyama de ngala college ro nyin aman si pour nga nyin kai.
You were not obeying his orders or directives.
Ibuka songala kangol tamandila ko alaftala nyame.
Exactly.
Wolem.
Please proceed.
And then?
So fortunately, I was able to find my way out of the country.
Wanata Kenyan Cairo ngasilo nyine hanfo ngasilo suta kabojang.
Then because I was about to come because of the scholarship. I should be coming to University of Oklahoma for my master's program.
Because watembo nyanta silo sutan katana masters ke University of Oklahoma pour kata karamalaji.
Yeah, so I was able to have my way.
Bitung wala nata Kenya silo tinga silo ta pour kata.
Yeah, and my family, they supported me.
Andun nabadi ngulu nadimbaya lu yemfasa bake.
Yeah.
And I hope that your experience has not put you off judicial office for the rest of your life, and that maybe you'll come back home one day and serve.
Ngamira bitung wo kolu wo jeri kolangulu wo ta kendi la pro ye kodi wo do kola menketa lo abunda do kola mbejigirin ko lumbe sila ibe murula nanne yana tenteng do kola.
Oh well, maybe probably, but for me, because what I went through was very traumatic.
Asike asinata manya wonya barbitum fanang kudol fanal bilarin.
Sorry about that, Mr. Conte.
Got to sign.
I think I want to pursue my options here.
Namira da laftabula lan nakulu no majanne.
It's unfortunate that we've lost such a noble judicial officer.
Aketa ku keja wote mfota mo kendo la memu kitindirila kendo tikoite.
And I have come to the end of your testimony. I have come to the end of your testimony now. I will hand you over to the chairman for any questions that they may have to ask.
Mfutatela sede andiro bandula tole sila mbela ko chikala ngadi siranti ba fangola chairman
You will also be given an opportunity, if the chairman so wishes, for any final remarks you may have.
And we be silo dile fananale nim chairman ye asilo nim chairman sonta puru isila kacha kumfa kumakangulula ite fanan lafta menu banke la jang.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for the opportunity given to me to the whole.
Inumbara bake akatanye sewoti animbunya puru kanyi silo yele nyente fanan puru ngana sede yaro la jang.
Thank you, Council, and thank you, Mr. Conte, for your testimony.
Inumbara Council, inumbara Mr. Conte la sede yandiroka.
You've been up for several hours and so early in the state of Washington.
E wulta juna montro wati jamai be nyala e dinkira nyinto e bedamentu teng tundo me ka faje Washington.
Commissioners, if you have any questions, please indicate.
Ning commissionalu fanalu nim moy nyinin kar soto pour ise nyinin ka.
Not if you have any concluding remarks, Mr. Conte, please proceed to make them now.
Saying ifana woto wairi commissioner man soto membe nyinin kala ifana nakumo kumfaran kachalu sila ngasilo di la ifana si wolufo.
Thank you, Chairman Sise.
Inumbara bake Chairman Sise.
As I've said,
kunga fonu nyamin.
It's been an honor.
Ninketanye bunyati.
And I'm grateful
Aketanye sewoti fanang.
for TRRC give me the opportunity to behold.
Pro TRRC ni silo mendina kana sede arola jang.
You've been doing a tremendous job.
Albedo ku kende baleke kambrali adamu takana sayinkang.
It's amazing.
Aketa kuti memfon lafta kela ka kuti.
So, for me, I'm excited about this whole thing.
Nte kungode aketante ye jusula baleti sewo bade.
And it's good for people and the citizens to know.
Abete atele puru molu animbanku dingulu ya lom menketa.
What happened
Menketa
and how, we can grow as a nation.
aning nsik mune keno puru nga kurukuru kake bankuti komfang lafta la nyaming.
For better.
Me ya lonko asike kaira aning yirwa bati bankoe.
Because, injustice is threat to justice everywhere.
Katu tilimbalia amut tilingu nintonya tinyaleti dunia karawo karala.
For any society to grow,
Puru jama sila wo jama ye kurukuru ye meng anyama.
justice and fairness and equality and respect for the rights of the people is sacrosanct.
Tilingu tonya ka molu kanyandi ka kuolu sahayandi wo mukuleti menkuma yata bake jama fanna wo fannala.
So you've been doing a great job.
Andung aleyedo ku kende bale ke albe menke kanteng fang hanimbi.
And I would appeal for it to continue.
Mbe wasila pour nyindo ku kendo ay tenteng.
And we look forward to the recommendations.
Bitumbe jikiring hammo fanam bakang sining mu yamar façon lena bena bola nyin ko kono.
And certainly the implementation of the recommendations.
Anim fanang jikoning hammo be lori nyin kanko yamaro lu menu be dila pour wol sike kuti ibe menu londi la ke tamandi keke.
Because I didn't lose a family member.
Katun tamam fo badin nade.
But there are people who lost their family members.
Bari mo jamal le bijam men ya lon ko ibadi ngolu ifote ibadi ngolu la.
So as a society, I think, we should be concerned.
Moto wairi hadama ya lemu hadama dim mendelbem hadama dim letim be nyokang uta nyanta kala nye de undaleti.
I'm not the type of people who would say, oh, if I'm not concerned, I'm not affected, then I'm not concerned.
Nde manke moti me ya lon konsafu ko wairi kumankentela kumankena mola oto amanke nye de unkuti nte manke umo fasonti.
So we should all be once anyone's keeper.
Mfanalu nyanta kela nyoye nyo kanta la leti kanyo komo kanta.
We make so that the report or the recommendations are implemented.
Nsaja fana nyabe sio nyama ya marolu nin kangolu menu be bola jang isi wolu londi ya tama wolula kake kuti me ya lonko asike.
For me, that is my expectation.
Ntele wole munaji koti.
And I hope it would.
Andu mbejikirin ko fo asekewo nya fanan.
I thank everybody.
Ngamobe numbara.
The commissioners, the members, lead council, Mr. Fall.
Commissionalu menu bebe du ko la jang ani lead council Mr. Fall.
All the council and the council that led me, Council Sagar.
Ani council me ya lon ko le tambita nyato biten council Sagar.
I'm grateful, I'm honored.
Nyinketa nye bunyani horomoti bake de fanan.
So I thank you all.
Moto mbali benu mbara la mbali jaila.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Conte. We should be the ones to thank you for your service to the country.
Mr. Conte, inumbara bake mfanalu be jaila bitu mtele nyantete fana numbara la ye do ko menke ila bankoe.
We really am sorry that things ended as the way they should not have ended.
Akitam fanali ni kuyati kulu nata laban nyamin amanya na laban na wanyama wamanke kulu kenyati.
I do hope that you get another opportunity to serve the country that we all love.
Mbenyi njiko soto la nganyi njiko soto ko fo bunda do sina yele isi do ko kela banko e nyame nyama.
It's not been easy for you, it's not been easy for the country at all.
Amang sona ya itefangoye ando amang sono ya banko fana wole nyama nyinsanji muani mfulo kono.
But you demonstrated your commitment to service the country and the people.
Bari yela wakilo ninsayo yitandi purka do ko ke ila banko moliye anila banko fango.
Under very difficult circumstances.
Ando aketa wato metebe do ko ke la aketa wati kolengoleti nutumo.
And most of the time, very discouraging circumstances.
Andu tembo kulle kakemeni alonko jikilate kulle multi wati ube.
But we thank you for your service and thank you for your testimony.
Mbe numbara la ila udoku kendo kang mbe numbara la fanang ila sede yaro kang.
I think you can perhaps go back to sleep now and rest a bit more.
Baraka ngamera sila esi muru yeta yela yesino demanding yedaha.
Yeah, waking up at 7 o'clock to go through 3 hours of testimony is not easy.
Kawuli talawro ula kanadu montoro wati saba sede andiro kono amanke kusono yarentide.
Thank you again very much.
Bare kotake inumbara kende ke kotake.
Councillor, are we ready with some witnesses for the afternoon? If we are, we'll take a break and come back at 3 o'clock.
Mr. Chair, yes, we are.
Beg your pardon?
We are. We have witnesses who are waiting for the afternoon session.
Good.
Thank you.
We will take a break and come back at 3 p.m. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Mbam du ca dee doomi mbaam du ca dee ndaw ak mu miin saa yi mu gisul tooy
Assalamualaikum, assalamualaikum, assalamualaikum. Defuñ nak lu dul rek demal lañ ba Austria jëndal lañ jas na fam gëna piré jas na bi gëna ndaanaale ci jas na yi ñu naan ko Magnum XL ak Magnum Air. In fact Magnum Air sax dafa génnangut waaye da ngeen ko dégg ci kanam tuuti rek moom laa leen indil waa Gambie xam ngeen ne yebuma leen xeebuma leen te duma leen foto man yéen laay bégee xangañ loolu lañ nama nag ma indil lañ mu ngi nii loolu lañ nama ci jas na rek xolo boo lañ nama ak design boo lañ nama rek egsi na manaan lañ nag egsi lañ mu ngi nii skincare plus laati de xam ngeen ne rek suñ plus yi comes in so many different ways. Our musical matuti xangañ waaw man seen bëggee la ma gaañe xangañ waaw waaw Skincare Plus of the Gambia niñ leen ko taamoo di defalee rek mun ngeen ñoo jot ci number yi bu dee Gambia fii la call lañu si 36 99 137 bu dee yaa nga United States nag call ñu si 347 731 0071 te naan lañ nag suñ contract bi DHL mu nga fam ne woon ba léegi foo nekk ci àddina rek boo ñu ne ring ñu jaay la paagal la ba pare yónnee la ko ci ak nu mu gën a yombee xam nga rek fañ ne woon fala ba léegi number si naka la 347 731 0071 mooy United States suñ number bi fii locally fii ci Gambia fii mooy 36 99 137 te naan la nga number yëpp a ngi WhatsApp boo ñuy call dañu am noonu rek la nag waaw
namoon naa leen danoo gëj a gisee lool namoon naa leen danoo gëj a gisee lool mbaam du ca dee doomi mbaam du ca dee ndawa kamu miin saay mu gisul jooy
asalaamaaleykum 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 defuñ nag lu dul rek demal lañ ba Austria jëndal lañ jas na fam gën a piré jas na bi gën a ndaanaale ci jas na yi ñu naan ko Magnum XL ak Magnum Air. In fact Magnum Air sax dafa génnangut waaye da ngeen ko dégg ci kanam tuuti rek moom laa leen indil waa Gambie xam ngeen ne yebuma leen xeebuma leen te duma leen foto man yéen laay bégee xangañ loolu lañ nama nag ma indil lañ mu ngi nii loolu lañ nama ci jas na rek xolo boo lañ nama ak design boo lañ nama rek egsi na manaan lañ nag egsi lañ mu ngi nii skincare plus laati de xam ngeen ne rek suñ plus yi comes in so many different ways. Our musical matuti xangañ waaw man seen bëggee la ma gaañe xangañ waaw waaw